Canadian Professional Football on CBC. Brought to you by Canadian Pacific, owned by Canadians, working for Canadians. KTEL International, specialists in household and leisure time products. Shell Canada Limited. Shell helps.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Tom McKee with Don Chevrier and Russ Jackson. A little late joining you at Ivor Wynne Stadium this afternoon. Right now, our national anthem.
CFL East will be back with the opening kickoff from Hamilton in just a moment.
At Canadian Pacific, we look at our work in real estate development as something special. Through our subsidiary, Marathon Realty, we've built homes, offices, warehouses, factories, shopping centers, even air cargo terminals. But at Canadian Pacific, we know everything we build has to be used by people to live, to work, to shop, to enjoy themselves. And when you look at real estate this way, there's a lot more to it than just bricks and mortar. There's you and me. At Canadian Pacific, we believe what we do is important to you.
The Hamilton Tiger Cats with 9 points, the Toronto Argonauts with 8. And here it is again, the final game of the CFL Eastern schedule to determine the playoff spot. Lumsden's kickoff. Argonaut 5-yard line to Terry Metcalf. Metcalf taken down in the area of the Toronto 41-yard line after a 36-yard return by Ben Zambezi and Bill Palmer. And it can be noted that Metcalf has his running back Mark Braganola back after a 2-game absence today. That's bound to help him with blocking. Here are the officials led by the referee Blair Shallow. Without Braganola, Metcalf has been most ineffective the last 2 games. The quarterback is Alvin White. Braganola firing across the 45. Picks up 7 yards. Zambezi with a Hamilton tackle. It'll be 2nd down at about 3.
Henderson made the tackle.
Don, certainly in the opening kickoff and this first running play that the Toronto Argonauts have run here this afternoon, they show a lot more spark than they did in the opening couple of series against BC last week in Toronto.
That's how the Argonauts line up offensively in terms of backfield and receivers. Kinch is playing for Braganola now. John Kinch, a former Hamilton Tiger Cat. Metcalf makes his cut, gets a first down and then some. Fumbles the football. It is picked up by the Toronto Argonauts, who will gain on that play unless they rule it's an illegally thrown forward pass from Metcalf.
Well, Toronto in a 2nd and 3 situation. Metcalf started up the middle and broke it to the outside and got a good block in here, but he popped the ball loose. But it looked like Slade Willis, number 74, came in there and recovered that ball for them. And that gives Toronto a first down at the Tiger Cat 43-yard line. And so far, those first 2 running plays, this Toronto offensive line is doing a job on that three-man front with 4 linebackers that Hamilton's showing.
Metcalf gained 11. The fumble gained him 10 more. Argonauts back in there now, crosses the 40 down to about the 38. He'll have close to 5. Well, we expected the tone would be set early in this game. The Argonauts looked so horribly flat against the BC Lions their last outing. They look to be a much more alert football team right now, Russ.
Well, they're alert out there, and they're doing things well. This Hamilton club, because of the injury to Gary Robinson, who has some leg problems, are basically going to have to go with a 3-man front this afternoon. The 4 linebackers, they have been successful, but this running game against Toronto's is working well.
Wide open is Peter Mueller, the tight end. Mueller hits down to the 25-yard line, almost getting through a tackle by Zach Henderson. It's another Toronto first down. Argonauts have moved from their own 41-yard line since Metcalf's return of the opening kickoff. That pass to Mueller good for 12 yards.
Well, both of these clubs, as you know, have had internal problems all season long. They've fired and hired coaches. They've had internal strife. The team that puts it together this afternoon will go on to meet the Montreal Alouettes in the Eastern semifinal. Right now, it looks as if the Argos have it all together.
Argonauts will have maybe 3 yards. The line of scrimmage was the 26. He reached the area of the 23-24, where Ben Zambezi again comes up with a Hamilton tackle.
Donna was talking to George Wells, number 69, the right defensive end of the Tiger Cats, just prior to the ball game. He was out throwing the ball around with one of the ball boys, and he said it's going to be a physical battle. He said whoever wins this afternoon is going to win the physical battle, and it looks like it early in this game that there's some pretty good popping going on out there as we look at the coaching staff of the Toronto Argonauts.
They're sending in plays now. Kinch in for Argonauts again. The pass is too high for both Slade Willis and then the man beyond him downfield, Peter Mueller.
Well, we had a safety blitz. Number 7, Ike Thomas, came in there. He was a little late getting the rush on. As he comes in here, he forces White to throw. There he is now, number 7, just coming into the picture, and he just threw it a little high over Slade Willis's head, but Willis had come underneath the other receiver and had the first down. Willis going down, coming inside under Peter Mueller, and other than the safety blitz that forced White to throw the ball early, it might have been another first down.
Allison holding for Sutter's field goal attempt, which is wide, and will go for a single point. Sutter, the former Tiger Cat, missing on the first scoring try of the game.
And that's been one of the problems with this Toronto club. Sutter has not been very effective for them in the field goals over the last few ball games. With the score 1-0 for Toronto, we'll be back at Iverwin Stadium in just a moment.
At Canadian Pacific, we work in all 4 corners of the world. In transportation and resource development, we work from the Arctic to the Orient, from Australia to Europe, from South America to the Middle East. So you see,
there's more than 4 corners.
At Canadian Pacific, we work in all 8 corners of the world.
At Canadian Pacific, we believe what we do is important to you.
Well, the Tiger Cats hope that they can follow the example of their cheerleaders by building an offensive pyramid here as they'll start from the 35-yard line, trailing 1-0 as the Sutter field goal attempt went wide after a very impressive Toronto drive in which time and time again, Russ, Alvin White had receivers open. But here's how Hamilton will line up offensively. Jimmy Jones, under considerable fan pressure here in Hamilton, is the quarterback. Jimmy Edwards in the backfield with Neil Lumsden. They've got a receiver coming into his own in recent weeks, Rocky DiPietro in the slot, number 23, and also a deep threat in Kerry Smith, number 70, to watch for in this series of plays.
And Leif Pettersson, number 71, is now their leading receiver with 41 catches, and he's been very effective running those out patterns to the sideline recently.
They go to Neil Lumsden. And Lumsden's got 5 yards comfortably up around the 40-yard line. They'll mark him at the 39 for a 4-yard gain. It'll be 2nd down and 6. Comet Burley back in his first game of 1978 after an early Achilles tendon injury, and Bruce Smith made the stop. Henry Waschuk centers the Hamilton offensive line. He's a veteran.
And that is the one section of this Hamilton offense that's remained fairly stable throughout the season and actually anchors this offensive team for the Tiger Cats.
Unlike the Argonauts' offensive line.
Exactly.
Here's pressure. Smith chasing Jones. He sees the marker and gets it, the first down, up at the 47-yard line. Billy Hardee finally put him down. And there's John Payne, the head coach of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. That was a gain of 7.
Well, from low angle, Jimmy Jones going back, trying to look downfield, got the pressure. Kuzno, number 44, the linebacker, was on a blitzing situation, but it was Bruce Smith from his right defensive end spot that just couldn't catch up with him, and Jones just saw where the marker was, and as soon as he made the first down, he went down to the ground.
Leif Patterson going right, Kerry Smith wide left. Into the I formation go Lumsden and Jimmy Edwards. This is Edwards, testing the left side of the Argonaut line and coming up empty. Brad Cousineau and Comet Burley combined to make the stops for Toronto. It's going to be second down and 9.5 to go, Hamilton.
I was watching Comet Burley in the warm-up. He just has a great reaction time, but he was not really running that well, and you sometimes wonder, isolation on Burley, getting away from the block and coming down the line, showing that he still does have good reaction, but having not played a league game this year, it's going to be difficult throughout the afternoon, I think, for Comet.
Right now, he's using all that natural ability to get it done. Marker has been thrown as Jones is a man wide open. Kerry Smith all alone, 5-yard line into the end zone. But it could be a holding penalty. It is against Hamilton. They'll bring it back.
Well, you wonder how somebody got that deep, even though there was a holding call. Apparently on Larry Butler.
Holding against Hamilton's number 68. Second down repeated.
It is Larry Butler, Russ, who is holding Comet Burley. And it cost them a touchdown. And how Kerry Smith got that wide open, I'll never know.
Well, again, Comet Burley coming in and trying to put the pressure on Butler, number 68. You can see Butler's got a pretty good hold of the shoulder pad, and he got called for holding. And downfield, Smith is 25 yards in behind that Toronto defensive secondary. Somebody had to make a mistake downfield.
A bad mistake. Unbelievably wide open. So it's second down, back at the 38-yard line. Jimmy Edwards. He'll be within 5 yards of the first down. They were second down and 18. Billy Hardee, number 30, made the stop. It is going to be third down and 5 from the 52.
Now, low angle replay. We watched the drop play to Edwards. It was 2nd and 20. The Toronto defensive team is willing to let Edwards have a few yards. They gave him 15 and forced the 3rd and 5 situation. But the big thing here now, how is this Hamilton team going to punt the ball? They've been having some problems.
Zach Henderson is going to be the Hamilton punter. We saw him in warm-up taking far too many steps to get it away. And he gets that one away against the charge. Not a bad punt it is. 20-yard line. Mike Williams. And he is hit by Meeks outside the 15, and the Argonauts will start around the 17-yard line with their series of plays as a Hamilton player is down. Dan Bassett is writhing in pain in the area of the 30-yard line. But the big play, a 62-yard pass wiped out on the holding penalty charge to Larry Butler. The Argonauts getting set to go. They'll have their series of plays after this.
At Canadian Pacific, we often think of ourselves as having two important activities. One, like this, is carrying things.
The other activity is producing essential basic resources, like forest products.
We carry people and produce steel. We carry things abroad
And produce minerals at home and abroad.
We help carry information from one end of the country to the other and produce energy resources like petroleum and coal.
When we've carried people somewhere, we cater to their needs in our hotels.
We also produce places for people to live and work and shop. So you see, we have two important activities: carrying people, things, and information, and producing basic resources. When you put them both together, you have what Canadian Pacific is all about.
At Canadian Pacific, we believe what we do is important to you.
I'm a a Canadian Pacific shareholder now, Harry.
Well, that's good, Arnold.
That gives me a share in the whole company, eh, Harry? Mines, airlines, steel, railway, trucks, forest products, hotels, ships, real estate, petroleum, telecommunications.
That's right. The company has a big responsibility to you as a shareholder.
Yeah. So now he's working for me.
At Canadian Pacific, we believe what we do is important to you.
Big Dan Bass being helped off with a very tender right knee across to the Hamilton bench. He may have been clipped on that punt return play, and that might have caused the injury. Jimmy Edwards, of course, the man the Cats count on today to get them through to the Eastern playoffs. That's his story on the year. He will undoubtedly miss the 1,000-yard mark, but he's come on well in recent weeks. A flag is thrown as White unloads for Harris. It is too far for him, but we have 2 penalty markers down at the origination point, the 17-yard line.
Well, it could possibly be illegal procedure. Or offside.
Could be against Mark McDonald. We'll find out. He's a newcomer in the Argonauts.
Offside against Toronto, number 11. That'll be second down.
That's the first time, as you hear it this afternoon, the facilities of CBC Television, the crowd at Ivor Wynne Stadium is able to hear the announcements of penalties by the referee, as, of course, we have been giving it to you for the last number of years on television, but now the crowd in the stadium also hears the call. Fine catch out there. The ball comes loose. It is picked up by the Hamilton Ticats. Ben Zambezi, and the Ticats win a big turnover. Peter Mueller had the ball. It might have been stripped from him, but again, Zambezi was there.
Well, White's rolling out, and everybody's doing a quick out, about a 5 or 6 yard out, and Peter Mueller just made a great catch here, one-handed catch, and as he gets hit by Zach Henderson, the ball pops loose, and Zambezi catches it. He almost gets knocked cold by his own teammate, but the big break, the first big break of the ball game, I guess you call it the second one after that holding penalty called back the touchdown, but Hamilton's now on the 29-yard line of the Argonauts.
It's the first big break for Hamilton. Jimmy Edwards has some room on the right side and takes it down to the 21. The gain is 7. Marty Smith and Paul Bennett combine to stop him. Both these teams want to strike early. That, of course, gives them the lift, the confidence, and the momentum in a sudden death game such as this. Right now, the Argonauts, after an impressive drive, lead 1-0 on a field goal that went astray from the toe of Ian Sutter. The Cats are second down and 3 from the 21 of Toronto. Edwards goes right and may have the first down near the 18. Bennett with the Toronto tackle. They had 2 tight ends in there. The wide receivers pinched in. That play was going toward the center all the way for Jimmy Edwards.
Just after that play, number 77, Laurie Skullroot, and number 44, Cousineau, were really giving it to each other. And you can tell that they're getting a little physical early down there, and the officials are going to have their work cut out for them as we get the signal that the Hamilton Tiger Cats have a first down on the 18-yard line of the Toronto Argonauts.
That report from the bench on Danny Bass is that he cracked his kneecap. That could be a painful and troublesome thing, not just now, but for the future.
You bet. First down, Hamilton. Once again, they go back to Jimmy Edwards, and he gets inside the 15-yard line for 5. Running his total to 31 yards on 5 carries today. It was Marty Smith, a relative newcomer at defensive tackle, who made the stop.
You know, I'm sure that Jimmy Jones is thinking only about today's game, but I asked him earlier how he felt about the cat calls coming from the fans here in Hamilton, how he copes with it.
Well, it's something that a quarterback learns to put up with. I see many great quarterbacks get the cat calls. I watched the Monday Night Football game, and Roger Staubach from the Dallas Cowboys got them. So it's part of the game. I think in my case on the Calgary game a couple of weeks ago, it was a thing where the whole team just stunk out the place, and I was receiving most of the cat calls. But I'm looking forward to redeeming myself, and the team's looking forward to redeeming themselves this week.
Hamilton quarterback Jimmy Jones handing off on that play to Neil Lumsden, but a couple of penalty markers were thrown, and Lumsden has been injured on the play. was a fairly harmless-looking routine carry for Neil Lumsden, but he's staying down at the 9-yard line.
Well, he might have just been knocked out because he's not moving there. He doesn't seem to be in any pain, so you see the penalty call. Illegal procedure against the Tiger Cats, which will be accepted. Larry Butler, number 68, and maybe Comet Burley is giving him some problems out there this afternoon, because that's two very important penalties that have been called on Larry Butler, who is playing against Comet Burley. As you said, Don, a very insignificant play, a straight fullback trap up the middle. Lumsden going in there, hit by number 51, Smith. Marty Smith.
He got twisted around there.
That is right knee, right leg.
It looks to be a leg injury.
Yeah, that's what they seem to be working on down here, is his right ankle or knee. We'll check it over here on the bench.
Well, that's two of them very early in this ball game, and they can't afford to lose those people, especially offensive lineman Bass. We mentioned that's the part of the offensive team that's really hung tough for Hamilton. And now Lumsden. And also, Neil Lumsden has been kicking their field goals since Jambrosic has been let go, and the question will be who will be doing it, because in the pregame warm-up, only Neil Lumsden warmed up in terms of kickoffs and kicking field goals. So it could be quite a blow to the Tiger Cats this afternoon.
Well, first losing the offensive left guard Dan Bass with an injury to his right leg, and now a similar injury to their fullback Neil Lumsden, and as you said, their place kicker as well. It is coming up to 2nd down and 10. Unless they get a first down on this play, we'll quickly find out who is going to come in and attempt a Hamilton field goal.
And that kicking game can be very important.
Sure can.
Especially with this wind that we have here.
Harrison is in to run for Lumsden. Fake to Edwards. Everybody heads for the end zone. Pressure on Jones. He's in the sack. It was number 75, Tom Poe. There he is, the middle linebacker, with a big Toronto defensive play.
Well, Jimmy Jones trying to go back on this 2nd down and 10 passing situation. Toronto Argonauts playing it a little aggressively this afternoon. Number 75, Tom Poe, we see on isolation coming in here, and nobody picked him up. And he gets in there, and again, when you lose a guy like Dan Bass as that left guard, sometimes your replacement doesn't have all those keys down to pick that linebacker up. Good display by the Toronto Argonauts.
They've taken a vote of the Hamilton bench and elected Leif Pettersson to try this field goal.
I wonder if he voted for himself.
He's a sidewinder.
Yep, he'll try from 37 yards out. In place of the injured Neil Lumsden.
Needs a little work there.
Got past Paul Bennett. May go for a single point. Very deep, 20 yards in the end zone. And yes, Bennett concedes. This game is all tied up. Sink the boatman is the message here from the Hamilton fans. We'll analyze Leaf's style.
Well, he does a good job of approaching the ball, but he's certainly got the top half of the ball rather than underneath it to lift it in the air. He's fortunate he got over the offensive line and the defensive line into the end zone to tie this game, but it could add up to some pressure on Leif Pettersson, as the Toronto bench seems quite happy right now.
Toronto then has a big advantage both in punting with Ken Clark and in field goals with Ian Seiler, even though he's had his troubles lately. 35-yard line, first down. Mark Braganola maybe has a yard, no more, at the 36 is the left side of the Hamilton defensive wall, led by Clifton Olapa. And Randy Graham and Bill Palmer all combined to stop him. It's going to be 2nd down and 9. A big game in the West later on today features the Blue Bombers in Calgary against the Stampeders. That's for 2nd place in the West. They're assured a meeting in the semifinal next week. The question is, where will it be, in Calgary or in Winnipeg? This one for 3rd place and a playoff berth against Montreal in the East. Big rush from Alvin White. Pressure from the outside, first by Jack Blair. And then Ben Zambezi following through made the tackle, so it's going to be 3rd down and 17.
Well, one of the successes this Hamilton club has had playing defense is the 3-4. A lot of teams are not using it this year, and when a team does have to play against it, they don't quite pick up those linebackers. I know George Wells said that it has given him a lot more freedom of one-on-one blocking, having the linebackers come from the outside more often.
The punter is Ken Clark. It'll be his first today. Jimmy Edwards is back with Steve Aykroyd near the Hamilton 40-yard line. A crosswind blowing here. Let's see how this punt reacts to it. Kept it fairly low and got some distance to Aykroyd back at the 30. And he reaches the 41-yard line. A 47-yard punt. The return is 6 yards. The score is tied at 1. 3 minutes to play here in the first quarter at Ivor Wynne Stadium in Hamilton.
At one time, Canadian Pacific was primarily owned outside this country, in Britain, in the United States, and in a few other countries. In those days, Canadians were low man on the totem pole. But today, that's all changed. Today, over 70% of Canadian Pacific is owned by Canadians, and that certainly looks much better to us.
At Canadian Pacific, we believe what we are is important to you. In transportation, as in architecture, there is always a new way we express ourselves. Oldsmobile's expressions of full-size cars, Delta 88 and Holiday 88. Luxury cars with quiet comfort, and both may be equipped with an available V8 diesel. Holiday 88, a sporty feel with the generous room of a full-size car. Delta 88 and Holiday 88. Have one built for you.
Back at Ivor Wynne Stadium, a 1-1 tie, and Neil Lumsden in the dugout of the Hamilton Tiger Cats getting some attention. He has a bad bruise. He got hit on the outside of his fibula. That's just above the ankle there on the right side. And he's in some pain, but they took the tape off just to get a closer look. He'll be back.
Jimmy Jones first down the 41-yard line.
He's got him up there.
Again, receivers fairly wide open, not as flagrantly as Kerry Smith was on the touchdown they called back earlier, but both had their defenders beaten. So it'll be 2nd and 10 from the Hamilton 41. Hamilton showing a bit of daring today. They're willing to go for the long bomb against the Argos and run the risk of the interception.
Jimmy Jones told me before the ball game when he was out, as we look at last year's records between the Hamilton Tiger Cats, or for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, this is this year's record. Jimmy was saying they spotted some weaknesses in that Toronto defense, and they were going to try and exploit them, and maybe they think they can get deep on them.
Early indications are that they can. There's a delay of game penalty. Jones took too long to put the ball in play.
Time count violation against Hamilton. 2nd down repeated.
Don, I was saying that Jimmy was talking to me and saying that he had some surprises, but he didn't want to give them away before the ball game. He was really protective of what their game plan was going to be today. The only thing he would say was he felt there were some places they could exploit, and certainly with that first long pass to Kerry Smith and then that one to DiPietro, it appears they think they can go deep on this Toronto team.
Hamilton now with double strength right. Couple of slot backs out on the right side as Jones unloads to Jimmy Edwards, and boy, he gets unloaded on by Gord Nolan, who read that play from 5 yards away. He had them all lined up.
From the end zone, they tried to get Jimmy Jones across the backfield. He started as the halfback on the right side, brought him completely across the formation to throw a screen to him, but Gordy Knowlton stayed at home in his right linebacker spot and really put the hit on Jimmy Edwards, and they had a few words after that play.
It is Zach Henderson again. It's a decent effort away around the 33-yard line to Paul Bennett. Bennett taken down around the 42. He suffered a knee injury against the BC Lions last week, but it did not turn out to be all that serious, as you can see by the way he can run today. That was a 42-yard punt, 9-yard return.
And his former team, this Wilfrid Laurier team, came up with a big upset yesterday in beating Western Ontario to go on to the semifinals towards the College Bowl.
They'll play the Thunderbirds at UBC out in Vancouver next Saturday. There's Paul Bennett.
Had a great career at Sir Wilfrid.
Another example of the many college graduates from Canadian schools playing in the CFL. Terry Metcalf tests the right side and reaches the 45-yard line. His game limited to about 3 yards by Ron Meeks and Ben Zambezi. Play after play, that number 47 Zambezi is always in on the tackle, if not right next to it.
Zambezi was in that first Can-Am Bowl that was played down in Tampa between the CIU All-Stars and the Tier 1 and 2 from the American colleges. He said he really got a kick out of it. Oh, the weatherman wasn't very kind. Maybe they'll have better weather this year.
Let's hope so.
Larry Key of the BC Lions also played in that game. White. Harris. First down. Up around a 53-yard line of Hamilton. It was Ron Meeks and Zach Henderson. The clock down to 35 seconds of playing time in the first quarter. That was a 12-yard gain.
Well, White is talking to Harris because it was supposed to be a quick look-in pass, and then when White couldn't deliver it because Harris was covered, he broke it to the outside, and that was good communication between the quarterback and the intended receiver.
Yeah, White went back only a couple of steps, was set to throw and thought better of it, and finally found him.
He wanted to dump it in a hurry.
Argonauts has it all filled in, the opening, and may have a yard near the 51-yard line of Hamilton. So that's a 2-yard gain. It's going to be second down and 8 now from between the 50 and the 51 on what should be the final play of this first quarter. The score tied at 1. A couple of field goals that were unsuccessful, producing the only points so far. Quick toss to Mueller through his hands. He turned. The ball was there, I think, before he was ready, and he couldn't hang on. So it's going to be third down and 8 to go, and play resumes. The end of the first quarter, the scores: the Toronto Argonauts 1 and the Hamilton Tiger Cats 1.
If your car uses non-leaded gas and pings, bing, 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 knock, 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 or runs on after you turn off the key, you may need new Shell Super Non-Leaded, a high-octane non-leaded gasoline blended to reduce or stop ping, knock, and run-on, and to give good mileage and clean, smooth-running performance. New Shell Super Non-Leaded. Beep, beep.
CBC Tonight, Marketplace.
If you'd like an inside look at one of the most exciting consumer stories in Canada and one of the finest stores, visit with us on Marketplace this week when we take you on a tour of Copri in Montreal. Undoubtedly the best consumer co-op in the country.
Marketplace looks at consumer co-ops tonight at 10 on CBC.
A CBC special, The Newcomers, 1927.
Why did they leave the old country? Why Canada? Why not the States?
The Ukrainians came to this country to find freedom and prosperity.
Why the prairie? You weren't looking for land.
You know how long I spent with Tanya? 19 weeks.
Yvonne Leppa, one of the newcomers, Sunday, November 19th on CBC.
As you can see, there wasn't much to choose either in terms of scoring or time of possession in the first quarter. Hamilton with a 4-second edge. The Argonauts about to give the ball back to them now. Third down and 8 yards to go. A boomer by Clark will carry well into the end zone, and the Argonauts lead 2-1. Ken Clark with a wind advantage now unloading a 76-yard punt. We talked about the big advantage that Clark was expected to give the Argonauts in the punting game today, and there's a good example right there.
That certainly indicates that this Hamilton offense is going to have to move that ball consistently against this wind, because Clark will be able to pin them back throughout this second quarter with that wind advantage.
Well, it's suntan time here in Hamilton. An incredible November day, as the entire week has been. The temperature about 16, 17 Celsius. Low 60s Fahrenheit as Jimmy Edwards slants left and reaches out to about the 38-yard line where the gain will be 3. Tom Poe, the middle linebacker, met him.
Well, there's no doubt about it. Burley has to be in a very awkward position. Can he play after being out for so long? I asked him that before today's game.
I've really had a really good recovery, and I'm going full speed. Been practicing about 2 weeks, full pads. Movement quickness, everything I had before I got hurt is still there, and I'm just thankful to God for the speedy recovery.
Well, it's been speedy in one sense, but it's also taken most of the season for a Comet to get back into action. Jones has the charge on him now and will go down. At the 26-yard line, it was Comet Burley, who hasn't lost a thing in terms of speed and mobility on that play.
Well, again, you can't blame that offensive line of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. The initial time was there to deliver the ball from Jones, but he did not have a receiver open. Early in the game, they broke downfield deep, that time thrown for a loss of 12 yards.
The Ticats now will putt into a wind that is more crossfield than against them at the moment. Henderson, a little trouble getting it away. It is partially blocked. Heads for the sidelines, gets a good Hamilton bounce to Bennett near midfield. And Paul Bennett reaches the Tiger Cat 50. Henderson taking too much time to get it away, nearly had that effort blocked.
Well, one of the things we saw was Zach Henderson. He, first of all, didn't take the ball very cleanly from the center, and then it's a Comet Burley again, who's having quite an afternoon out there and seems to be the spark to that defense, getting in there as he was unmolested coming up there until he got to the deep back, and when Henderson had problems handling the ball, got to it and partially blocked it and gives Toronto a very good field position.
Reminds me of one of my tee shots, the way it's sort of hooked over there.
It's like Peterson's field goal.
Same thing.
Got to keep his head down.
Metcalf makes a move to the outside, has 5, has 10 yards at the Hamilton 40, and could also pick up a first down. Clifton Alapa contained him as Terry Metcalf gets his best run of the day off. Metcalf, a very emotional player, has had a tough year, as you know. But throughout it all, for the most part, has been one of the fire guys in the Argonaut team, as you saw him clapping his hands and talking it up. And he's had every reason to be dejected the way things have gone. He's 6 for 28 now, Tom.
It's not like some of those other superstars we've had that sort of give up as the season goes along. He's still in it. He's in every game.
He is no Anthony Davis.
Thank goodness.
Argonaut has 2 to around the 38-yard line, and that does confirm the first down that Metcalf missed by about half a yard.
Don, the one thing that Metcalf has indicated himself is that he's not the rah-rah type of guy that can really pick a team up by getting in the huddle and talking to them. He has to do it by example, and unfortunately he has not been able to do that with this Toronto team this year. But as you say, he's been giving 100% almost all the time.
We have 3 minutes into the second quarter. Here's Alvin White now, the first down call. Over the middle for Harris. He had 3 men near him and never got his hands on the ball. There's a penalty marker down, however, near the 45-yard line.
And it's in that area thrown by the referee that almost always indicates holding on a pass play.
Referee Blair Shallow will assess the situation and explain the options for Ray Nettles of Hamilton.
Come on, baby! Holding against Toronto's number 65. First down repeated.
So the call goes against Nick Bastaya, former Hamilton Tiger Cat, for holding. It's first down over at the 47.5-yard line. As John Kinch comes in with a play from Coach Bud Riley. There's Chuck Dickerson, the assistant coach of the Argo bench. Nick Shadow, the general manager, had to come in and make peace among the coaches early in the week and then moved his office right down to Exhibition Stadium for the balance of the week to get some harmony into the Argo organization. This is Kinch slanting right. Is hit down to the 43-yard line and is going to be picking up 5 yards in the play. It was Clifton Alapa and Ray Nettles who contained him. It's going to be second down, about 14.
I imagine Coach Dimitrov, who's up in the box, is calling most of this ball game. He had quite an offense with the Ottawa Football Club, and he's up in the box, and he's sending those messages down to Chuck Dickerson, the line coach, the offensive line coach, and they're alternating wide receivers and sending these plays in all the time.
Here comes the big blitz for Mike Thomas, and he's got him. Thomas coming all the way on quarterback Alvin White. He took off like a track star out of the blocks. And really got right through without anybody impeding his progress at all.
Well, it's good timing this time. The last time Thomas blitzed, he was a little late. White had a chance to throw the ball, threw it erratically to Peter Mueller. This time the timing was there, and I know, having played quarterback, it's the helpless feeling you have when a guy's coming full bore at you and he's about one step away and you don't know which way to go.
Down, go down.
Third down, over 30 yards to go. As Ken Clark will attempt another punt. His last went 76 yards. This one down to Jimmy Edwards around the 12-yard line. A flag is thrown as Edwards reverses his field. And then we'll settle for the 24-yard line, but flags in that area often indicate clipping. We'll assess the penalty situation when play resumes in just a moment. Argos lead the Ticats 2-1, 5 minutes into the second quarter.
It's here, the most sought-after, most talked-about album of the year. Paul Anka, 20 of his greatest hits. I'm just a lonely boy. From the sibling feelings of a young boy to the honest emotion of a man.
No, I don't like to sleep alone.
Paul Anka, one of the most accomplished writers of our time.
I believe there's nothing stronger than our love.
From deep emotional expression to profound devotion.
One-man woman, you're a one-man woman.
This is the magic of Paul Anka. 20 hits like milestones in a sometimes turbulent career.
Let me get to know you.
20 years on the road to international acclaim. From the winner's circle, this is Paul Anka, an album for everyone. Available wherever fine records are sold.
Hamilton will start deep after a clipping penalty to Bob Maddox from their own 8-yard line. Edwards across the 10 has a gain of 3 near the 11-yard line where Brad Cousineau met him.
Oh, some good news for Hamilton fans. Neil Lumsden has had a new tape job done on his right ankle. He's got the sock back on. He's going to get back into this football game. That's good news, especially if they're a long way now, but if they should get into field goal range.
Jones is sacked. A flag is down as well as Burley was coming, Gordon Olton was coming, McIver was there, and Marty Smith. All kinds of pressure on the Hamilton quarterback.
Well, both teams are pulling out all the stops, and that was a blitz again by those linebackers, and when the linebackers are coming.
Holding is against Hamilton, number 50. The penalty is declined. Third down.
Well, Henry Waschuk, the center, called for a holding, but the blitz is coming. We're on the center of the line, and Waschuk has just centered the ball. He's got Burley right over top of him. Then Poe comes in. Protection pretty good, but it's Waschuk holding Burley again, and Burley is just pushing his way into that backfield and causing havoc out there right now.
They're back at the 2-yard line. The punt will come from the end zone. He's going to concede a single point, and a wise move. That'll be 2, actually, as safety touch is registered. A good move by Hamilton there. Makes it 4-1. Because they knew the Argonauts were coming with guns a-blazing on that play because they know that Henderson takes time getting it away in any event, and it's 4-1 Toronto now. And well, to make it worse, they'll have to kick off to the Argonauts from the 35-yard line.
That's right, Don, and they're going to have to kick off, and this Toronto team is going to start with good field position, and as expected, the one problem this Hamilton club has is getting that offense going. Their defense has been playing well, has done a good job this afternoon, except for that initial march by the Toronto Argonauts.
And Neil Lumsden, as Tom indicated, is now back for the kickoff. John Payne, his team now a field goal down to the man on the left, Bud Riley, head coach of the Toronto Argonauts. Not deep, 25-yard line for Terry Metcalf. And Zambezi was there to take him down as he crossed the 35 after a 12-yard return.
Lumsden is going off the field, Don, and he is limping noticeably as he's going off there on that right leg. And unfortunately, he may not be as healthy as they hope he is, and as Tom maybe indicated to us.
Well, unfortunately, it's the wrong leg that is bothering him, and as you say, it's very tender for Neil Lumsden as he goes over to the bench and will give it some rest. Option from Metcalf to Harris. It is complete for a first down. A gain of 15 yards at the Toronto 53. Ike Thomas made the tackle. That play worked out just the way they rehearsed it.
Well, you can play quarterback or halfback, whichever you like, but Metcalf taking this pitch outside, getting good protection, and Harris has found the seam down there, and these Argo receivers are finding the open areas in that zone defense that Hamilton plays a great deal of the time.
Willis wide left on first down from the 53. Metcalf hit out of bounds after a gain of only a yard of the 54 by Zach Henderson. It'll be second down and 9 as he puts the sweater back over the shoulder pad with help from Alvin White. 8 minutes remaining in the second quarter. It's 4-1 Toronto. A couple of singles and a safety touch against one single for Hamilton. That's been the scoring so far, but the Cats had a 62-yard touchdown to Kerry Smith called back because of holding. Almost picked off by Dave Shaw, who's downfield covering Slade Willis on the play.
White was lucky to get that ball away as number 41, Jack Blair, was right on his back as he was about to throw it. And George Wells was coming head on to him, rolling out to the left from behind. That sixth sense tells him there he is. And just as he released that ball, before the receiver was really in position to have an attempt at it, he was hit, and he was hit hard.
So it's third down, 8.5. It'll be Ken Clark once again.
How far is he going to kick this one?
Out of the 4-yard line. Ackroyd. Out to the 13. He was met by Tim Allen after a 51-yarder by Clark. We have 7 minutes to play in the second quarter. Argos lead Hamilton 4-1.
Oldsmobile announces a new state-of-the-art and personal luxury car design, the all-new Toronado. Built on the Olds heritage of front-wheel drive, the new Toronado offers a choice of standard gasoline or available diesel V8 engines, plus standard features like electronic level control and independent four-wheel suspension for impressive roadability. Discover the elegant inner world of Oldsmobile's Toronado. Have one built for you.
That's Dan Bass. He's on crutches now. As Tom said earlier, they suspect a cracked kneecap. He went out very early in the game. Lumsden went out, has come back, but is still having trouble with his right leg. As Jimmy Jones leads the Cats out from the 13. And they were looking for Jimmy Edwards, and they got him. Back at the 10-yard line. A Comet Burley, having an outstanding first game, back from a fairly serious injury, made the tackle.
Don, the Hamilton offense is going to have to open up a little bit more. They're going to have to start throwing that ball on first down because this Toronto defense is lining up with about 9 people within a yard of that line of scrimmage on first downs. And I don't care whether you're in around your 15-yard line, you're going to have to throw that ball a little bit to get them off that line of scrimmage because I don't care how good Jimmy Edwards is, he's not going to gain many yards with that type of defense against him.
They've only thrown on first down once today. On second down, Jones will not get this one away. That is close to, but is not a safety touch. They have him down to the 1-yard line. It was Tom Poe, the middle linebacker, and the outside linebacker on the right side, Brad Cousineau.
Well, Don, this is the problem. You put yourself in when you're throwing on second down and you got the 2nd and 8, 2nd and 9, 2nd and 11 situations. Those defensive linemen and linebackers can just line up and come at you. And they're getting to the quarterback and they're sacking him. So that's the 4th sack this afternoon for 43 yards. And Jimmy is just going to have to change the strategy of the offense.
From the end zone, Henderson gave up 2 points the last time. Let's see if he does here. Yes, sir. 2 more. Shades of Bud Grant for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He would do that in certain situations.
Yeah, but he used to be winning when he did that.
That's right. Gave up 3 in the Grey Cup game, of course, and it cost him 1965.
That's one of the reasons they changed the rules, so that you couldn't keep giving up safety touches and maintain possession of the ball. As you could a few years ago, you now have to kick off after you give up that safety touch, which Hamilton will be doing again from the 35-yard line. And it appears that Neil Lumsden, bad leg and all, is out there to kick off a game.
Six to 1. Argos on 2 safety touches and 2 singles lead the Hamilton Tiger Cats. 6 minutes to play in the second quarter at Ivor Wynne Stadium. Beautiful, balmy November afternoon. Good kickoff by Lumsden. Down to Terry Metcalf. Steve Aykroyd upends Metcalf near the 39-yard line.
Kowski was with us at our last grandstand quarterback, and if you guessed Nobby would call a run up the middle, you are, as they say, right on. You're playing this week against Peter Lisk. We invite you to join us at halftime for Grandstand Quarterback Final Edition 1978.
All right, here come the Argos from the 39. Metcalf has about 6 yards, 7 yards at the 46. Zambezi and Palmer, the outside linebackers, combined to stop him. It's going to be second down, about 3.5.
Well, number 41, Jack Blair, a young linebacker from the high school system here in junior ball in Hamilton, is getting a pretty good lesson on he better look at the belt buckle of Terry Metcalf rather than his legs, because he's turned him around a couple of times coming around that right side.
Mark McDonald, ex-Winnipeg Blue Bomber, wide left for the Argonauts now. This is John Kinch for the Toronto first down, claiming it near the 50-yard line. Got through Maddox and Zambezi, who hung on to him to make the tackle. So the Argonaut drive will continue. We have 4 minutes and 55 seconds until halftime, and Toronto leads Hamilton 6-1 here in the battle for third place in the East. Becoming almost an annual event. They missed last year only because the schedule was different.
Did happen in 74, 75, and 76, though, right down to this last game.
It will not happen next year, Russ.
Sorry about that.
It will not happen next year. The schedule is different. Alvin White for Mike Harris. The 34-yard line of Hamilton, and a big Argonaut first down.
Well, I'm not sure, Don, but I think this ball was thrown for Peter Mueller. We've got Harris on isolation. Peter Mueller runs a shorter pattern than Harris does. White, I'm sure, is trying to hit Peter Mueller, and when he overthrew him, all of a sudden, Mike Harris, number 7, said, there's the ball. I got a first down.
Got 21 yards out of it. I thought so, too. I thought it was for Mueller, and as you said, he was overthrown. That's why they have consecutive pass patterns. Pays off sometimes. There's Terry Metcalf getting outside and is hit down to about the 27 by Ray Nettles. Then flags fly. In the aftermath, there was a mix-up. Mike Thomas, Tom Davis in a violent confrontation on the sideline. The officials will sort this out with 3 minutes and 40 seconds left.
Well, by the way those Toronto Argonauts are walking back, I'm not sure who it's going to be against. Looks like the officials don't either.
Let's find out. Could be an ejection.
Number 63, Toronto, disqualified.
That's Tom Davis. He has been tossed out of the ball game. He's still on the field, being sent away now. But not before he stops to try to find out.
I think the Toronto offensive captain should get him out of there because they're going to lose a lot of yardage now, and it could cost them a lot more if he says something.
Remember a game that Bill Fry did in Montreal, a real melee between Winnipeg and Montreal, in which disqualified players refused to leave the field for about 5 minutes. And right now we've got Davis out there who's hanging in.
It's only going to cost the Toronto team more yards. They should get him off the field.
Maybe he doesn't believe it.
Well, he better believe it. The Argonaut coaching staff has been waving over there at him to try to get his attention.
Now they're sending a recruit out to recruit him right out of there. There he goes. That way, sir. That's the way. Yes. To the bench.
Now he's going to have his say.
He's not about to go just yet. There he goes. A 25-yard penalty. They say he deliberately threw a punch at Ike Thomas. We might see it here.
At the top right of your screen, you'll probably see this punch come in.
Alvin White, it is still second down. Here's the pass from Mueller, tipped, and a flag flies. Could be interference.
And this game is starting to develop some character, you might say, Don. We've got it going both ways with the Argonauts looking at 30 yards.
Interference against Hamilton's number 14. First down.
That's Randy Graham, called for pass interference.
Well, with 30 yards to go, you just don't want that pass interference call because it gives an automatic first down, and that was right in front of the Tiger Cat bench, and they didn't like the call at all.
At the 28-yard line. Terry Metcalf has some room through the middle and gets down to about the 23. He'll have a gain of 5 to 6 yards. We have 3 minutes to play until halftime. The Argonauts driving, leading by a score of 6-1 over the Tiger Cats.
The American Indian has always respected the eagle, its strength, its freedom to sail, to soar, master of the sky. To fly like the eagle is no longer a dream. To fly to the lands of the Native American or anywhere else in the world on a Boeing 747. The world's favorite way to fly.
Tonight on Side Street, Revenge.
You can't go around bumping off cops, you know what I mean? They don't close the book on something like that.
Pollock committed a dozen crimes and he went to jail for one of them. He has no right to demand revenge.
If we get to him before he gets to you, we'll tell him that.
You're his lady or what?
As long as he can pay for what he's getting, I am.
He's setting himself up. He's giving Pollock a chance to get back at him.
Watch Side Street tonight at 9.
Well, a penalty-filled second quarter, and these teams have been taken up and down the field on penalty calls. The Toronto Argonauts are second down, about 4.5 yards to go from the Hamilton 23. Just under 3 minutes until halftime, and they lead 6-1. Mark Braganola gets down to the 19 and will be just short of the first down. Clifton Alapa, the former Montreal Alouette, playing at defensive tackle today. He's a former defensive end, made the stop. It's going to be third down, about 2. 1.5 to 2 yards to go as the player ejected, Tom Davis, is still talking about what happened out there. The officials caught him throwing a deliberate punch. Now here is Marvin Bass, injured early in the game. But Dan Bass, it is, going to the ambulance with a suspected cracked kneecap. Argonauts gambling, and Braganola, sliding like a base runner into second base, might have picked it up around the 18-yard line. It is going to be close to Catskill.
I don't think
he's
he made
been
it.
stopped short.
He lost his balance coming in there, Don, and his knee went down, and I think the linesman made a good call as to where he marked that ball.
He had to be at the 18. As you see, the ball is just short of that. The measurement now. Zambezi and Ray Nettles took his feet out from under him, and he is short. The Ticats win the ball on down.
And that has to be a big play, but Nettles and Zambezi do a good job of coming underneath, but he seems to slip now, right about here. And you can see where he bounced between the 2-yard stripes. He had to make it to that furthest yard stripe for the first down, and the linesman was right on top of it because he did bounce ahead far enough for the first down.
Well, in pregame calculations, the only definite edge between these teams appeared to be to Hamilton with their defense, and it paid off for them right there in a big defensive stand.
Maybe Jimmy will throw.
On first down, he will attempt to throw. Unloads to Bill Harrison. To the 25-yard line, the gain will be 7.
Pretty slow developing screen, and he caught it about 7 or 8 yards in behind the line of scrimmage. He should be up closer to the line of scrimmage. He did a lot of running for about 7 yards, but Harrison going out to the right here. Jimmy drops a long way back, and the screen is caught, as I say, about 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and he did a lot of running for 7 yards. But Jimmy's just going to have to throw that ball a little bit more on first down.
Jimmy Edwards. The 40-yard line. There's a Hamilton first down, and then some, upended by Jim Marshall, number 15.
But that's the difference when you get those 2nd and 2, 2nd and 3 situations. This is when Edwards can be effective for you because that defense can't gang up on him. When they give it to him first down, they're up there with 9 guys in a yard, within a yard of the line of scrimmage. He's just not going to get many yards, and that's the way Jimmy's going to be effective.
We have 2 minutes, just under that, to play in the half. It is 6-1 Toronto. Edwards, with all kinds of initial room, has it filled in, and they drag him down around the 43. It limits his gain to 3 yards. It was Jim Marshall and Gord Knowlton filling in a pretty good opening on the left side. Edwards had at one point. 1:46 remaining now. Total offense has been almost all Toronto.
Tiger Cats going to hurry up offense with almost 2 minutes left.
That is tipped one hand for DiPietro. That is all, and it goes to 3rd down. And about 7. First time they try to go to the boy from Sault Ste. Marie this afternoon. 1:36 remaining now. Jimmy Edwards, a productive day, halfway to 100 yards here just before the end of the first half. Once again, it'll be Zach Henderson filling in for Neil Lumsden as the Hamilton punter. They back off the charge. He hangs it high, but not deep. Paul Bennett. Immediate tackle by Dave Hatton, a former Toronto Argonaut and Saskatchewan Rough Rider, takes him down around the 33-yard line. A 30-yard punt by Henderson. There's Chuck Ely at the Argonaut bench, knocked out for the season with a collapsed lung and injured ribs in a game in Calgary about a month or so ago.
And right now he isn't even under contract to this Toronto Argonaut club.
Well, there he is on the sidelines cheering them on. That's the kind of competitor that Chuck Ely is, although his future with the Argonauts is certainly uncertain in terms of 1979, but a lot of things about the Argonauts are uncertain right now.
A lot of futures with the Argonauts.
A great many. Ownership on down. Alvin White has all kinds of time, but still can't find a receiver. Now he spots McDonald. And it's just tipped away on a fine defensive play down there at the 30-yard line by Ike Thomas, the ex-Argo. McDonald had to actually wait for the ball to get to him, and that gave Thomas time to knock it down.
Well, Mark McDonald broke the pattern initially. White wanted to go deep right now. He's ready to really throw it deep, and I think McDonald was supposed to stay the outside, but he got pushed off the pattern by Meeks. Meeks forced him into the inside, and then it was up to White to scramble around, and it was Thomas that made a good defensive recovery to knock it away, but I think initially that pass was a straight streak down the sideline, but Meeks did a good job of pushing the receiver inside.
Hamilton's been dropping off that blitz lately, giving White more time, but giving better coverage to his receivers. Here is Terry Metcalf. Cutting left across the 40-yard line, thrown to the 41. The gain is going to be 7 yards. They'll be 3rd and 3. George Wells made the tackle. And like Jimmy Edwards, a good first half has been turned in by the Argonauts' premier running back, Terry Metcalf, as Gord Knowlton comes back into action now. 7 carries for 53 yards. for Terry Metcalf. You saw earlier that 50 yards is up on the board for Jimmy Edwards so far. We have 1 minute left of the second quarter. It's 6-1 Toronto. Ken Clark, another great kick. Way back to the 7-yard line of Jimmy Edwards. And he simply runs out of room on the short side near the Hamilton 20. Brought it back 17 yards after a 60-yard effort by former Ticat Ken Clark. There he is. His future uncertain, too. Playing on the option year of the contract. He hasn't signed a new one, averaging 54.5 yards on 5 punts today. 44 seconds left now in this half. Strange half of football. Certainly abundant scoring chances for both teams. Certainly for the Argonauts. But they have 2 safety touches and 2 singles for their 6, and the Cats have a single in reply. From the 21-yard line. Pressure from McIver. Jones away from him. Then for Harrison, first down. Oh, he dropped the ball. It is ruled a catch. The play is whistled dead, and the Argonauts are incensed. That either had to be an incomplete pass or a completion and a fumble, but they have ruled it as a completion. The play whistled down.
Well, here comes the pressure on Jimmy Jones, Burley, and Smith. Marty Smith, number 51. Then we get a good block on McIver chasing, but you can judge for yourself here now. There's the catch. He gets hit, and the ball comes out immediately. I think, Don, you're right in saying that that is either an incomplete pass or a fumble. It cannot be ruled a completion. But it was. And there we go. Look out.
Jimmy Edwards to the 40-yard line for a first down. The Cats moving now. The clock against them. 20 seconds to play in the second quarter.
But the question is, can they get in close enough, and can Neil Lumsden kick the field goal for them if they get the opportunity? Taking lots of time here for some reason. Oh, he's alone.
Gary Smith wide open. Hamilton.
Oh, yeah.
Never mind Neil Lumsden. The Cats have a touchdown.
Well, Jimmy Jones took a lot of time to get this play off. He ran the clock down to about 8 seconds before he centered the ball, and the fans were a little incensed here. But Gary Smith, as he did in the first quarter, got in behind that secondary about 15 or 20 yards, and they're the ones you think you're going to drop. And the fans who were jeering about 5 seconds ago now are up cheering this Tiger Cat team along.
That's the same play that was called back for a touchdown earlier in this game. And how Smith has become that wide open is still a mystery. Lumsden in for the point after, and he comes through on it. The Tiger Cats, with 3 seconds left in the first half, have taken the lead by an 8-6 score. They went 89 yards in 3 plays, and here's the capper.
Well, from the end zone again, it's a 4-man rush. This time they got good protection for Jimmy Jones. He had lots of vision. Nobody got in on his face, and you can look and see just how far Gary Smith was in behind Jim Marshall and Mike Williams, the safety. And again, there's got to be a mix-up in that defensive secondary in terms of anybody getting that far in behind, especially with it probably being the last offensive play of the first half. Well, or at least they would have to go for a field goal after that.
More so, Russ, when the Argonauts should know in their preparation that the biggest weapon as a deep threat the Cats have is Gary Smith. He's the one guy you watch in a situation such as that.
He's the only one other than Jimmy Edwards coming out of that backfield that's going to get deep on you and beat you like that.
So the Cats capitalize on a good call and an Argo defensive goof to go ahead 8-6.
And a questionable call maybe on the officials as to whether Harrison did have that ball or not.
It was not a good call. Line drive gets away from Terry Metcalf at the 2-yard line. He has it. And then Henderson hits him at the 15. That takes care of the playing time, I believe, in the first half. The gun sounds. That's it. The Ticats strike late. and take the lead just before halftime. At the end of the first half then, the score is the Hamilton Tiger Cats 8 and the Toronto Argonauts 6.
Sam, what makes the new Chevrolet so right?
You must remember this. Back in '76, Chevy knew just why. That smaller was a better buy with gas so high. And so Caprice was built, a classic in its field, and easy on the eye. And on the pocketbook as well as cars you buy. Chevy had the know-how, the models, and the taste. And GM was the leader. Chevy set the pace. So now they buy Caprice and sit back at their ease, enjoy that big car ride. Chevy is the reason why as time goes by.
Sam, this could be the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
K-Tel presents Herb Alpert at his best. An exciting two-record collector's set, 40 giant hits. The unique sound of Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass gave new life to the big band sound and created millions of fans throughout the world. Enjoy the hits that made the Brass international superstars. Powerful, dynamic. This is Herb Alpert at his best. 40 giant hits, one of the hot ones from K-Tel. Available at regular outlets.
Grandstand Quarterback is brought to you by Sony of Canada Limited, manufacturers of quality home entertainment products.
Oh, the things people do to decide between two TV shows they want to watch. Well, now you don't have to decide anymore, because with Sony's Betamax video recorder, you can actually watch a show on one channel while you're videotaping a show on another channel. That way you get to see both of them, so you don't have to worry about dreaming up new ways of deciding.
Okay, first one to the TV set chooses.
Football fans across the country really enjoy second-guessing a quarterback. We're all grandstand quarterbacks, I suppose, and our special guest on Grandstand Quarterback is Peter Lisk, who terrorized the CFL way back in the late 60s. He won the Shinley Award in 1967 and then led Calgary to a Grey Cup game in 1968 against Ottawa. And Peter, nice to have you with us, but that was a disappointing Grey Cup game for you in a way, wasn't it?
It was a frustrating week. We went down and had the flu during the week, didn't get the practice time in, but we played a fine Ottawa football club and had a good series with them during the year, so it was a fun Grey Cup too.
Well, you had some great years with Calgary, though, didn't you? You were throwing well, you had Evan Shen, good receivers. The Calgary Ball Club had a magnificent offense.
We had an extremely fine group of receivers who were not only talented but also very intelligent, and we had a great coaching staff with Jerry Williams, who was a very intelligent person. And I think we did a lot of things that maybe normally you can't do throughout the course of a season because the fellows are pretty bright and made for a pretty potent offense.
Do you remember a lot about that Grey Cup game in '68 in Toronto when you played Ottawa?
Oh, I imagine after you look at the game, you normally see a lot of it, but all I remember is Vic Washington was from the same hometown, beat us that day with a fumble bounce, but it was a fun week. We didn't get to see too many of the festivities, but it was an interesting game.
Let's go back and look at that Grey Cup. We'll pick it up where Ottawa is leading by a score of 4-0 and take it from there, and then we'll take a look at some of your plays.
Sure.
Ottawa leads 4-0 in the second quarter. Calgary has the ball as Wayne Harris had recovered a fumble. He had a throw to Jerry Shaw there, was incomplete, but they were called for interference, so you have the ball in the 38.
Then we come back to Jerry again, and he makes a nice catch and gets us down near that end zone. We come back, and our offense is moving now, and Bobby McCarthy shows a lot of concentration on a deflected pass here and gets us out of bounds right down near that big goal line.
We're getting some time there, Peter.
And Joe Poirier helped us out here with another one of his interference calls.
Right, so now that first down again. We're deep in Ottawa territory.
Jerry Watson picking up some real tough yardage to get us down near that goal line.
Now you're just a couple of yards away.
Makes it easy for that sneak.
So that's a 7-4 score now. Calgary leading, and you get the ball back a moments later.
Gary Watson doing some more tough running inside, get us moving, and that offensive line really working here to give us plenty of time back there in the pocket, which is the best friend a quarterback has.
I'm impressed at the way you're throwing that ball. It's like a bullet.
Bobby McCarthy here getting out of bounds, making a nice catch and showing a little strength here on the sideline. Not taking too much from those defensive backs.
Good collision.
And here's Terry catching another touchdown pass that he made a great history of doing in the CFL.
What a player. 14-4, Calgary leads at halftime. Kenny Lehman made a great play for Ottawa, and Ottawa has the ball. Russ Jackson gets it all the way down to the 1, and here he goes for a touchdown. The first of 3 quick ones Ottawa score. And here's the famous play with Washington dropping the ball and picking it up. Watch it bounce up.
Certainly bounced right for Ottawa on that play, but it gave Vic just a crack in the defense right here, and that's all he needs. He's such a fine football player, and if you give him that crack, he's gone.
That was 79 yards.
I think he was running that last 5 as fast as he did the first 5.
And that made the score 17-14. Ottawa leading, and things began to crumble a little bit there, didn't they, Peter?
We needed one more white shirt to tackle him somewhere down there.
Okay, Ottawa wasn't through yet. Here's the 3rd touchdown they got that late in the game.
They had a world of talent on that football team, and here's another fellow, Margene Atkins, with his tremendous speed, outrunning our secondary for another long touchdown play.
So Jackson had the Rough Riders really moving, but Stampeders still had a chance. They started to come back in the 4th quarter.
We can still move the ball and still score. It's just a matter of time now whether we have enough. Bobby McCarthy making another fine catch after a good route.
You're trailing 24-14 here.
Well, we've got to score and score in a hurry so we can get that ball back again and try to get that winning touchdown. Here Terry runs a real fine route and concentrates on that ball, catches it in his hands, and shows a lot of determination getting extra yardage here.
Total of 20 yards on that play. He's a tough one. So you're moving deep into Ottawa territory here, and I think you chose McCarthy this time to throw the ball to.
Well, we had quite a few good receivers, and you sort of pick who's ever open.
But there was
Gary Watson, I believe, again, getting knocked out of bounds. We're trying to conserve a little time and go on quick counts here and get ourselves down in a scoring position. We've got another interference call here.
So here's the situation. There's about a little over 4 minutes to go in the 68 Grey Cup game. Ottawa is leading Calgary by a score of 24-14. And the options are, Peter, here, you're down on the 9-yard line. It's first down. You have to get some points. You can either run it up the middle, you can run it wide, or you can pass. Those are the options. Run it up the middle, run it wide, or pass. What would you do in that situation? Peter, what did you do?
Well, Ernie, let's take a look. We decided on a pass play here, and Billy Van Berkelo made a real fine interception on us, and that kind of took us out of the ball game right there.
However, the Stampeders did come back and score another touchdown after that, and the Grey Cup game score wound up 24-21 in favor of Ottawa, so it was a very close game. But you did call a pass play, and for all of you who called the pass, you were correct. Peter, nice to have you with us. You're looking great. You're living just out of Denver, and I understand you're in the manufacturing business there.
Yes, we have a company up in Boulder that we manufacture industrial belts, and it keeps us pretty busy.
Are you missing football at all?
Well, I'm officiating now, and that kind of keeps my hand in the game. I'm doing high school and college ball right now. Hope to get in the pros eventually, but it keeps you abreast of what's going on, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Do you find that what you've seen in football is far advanced to the game you played?
It's getting much more physical than it used to be. The players are getting bigger and stronger, and you're going to have to change the rules or maybe abide by them a little closer because it's really getting to be a physical game.
Have you ever had any offers to come back into the CFL since you last moved out?
No, I haven't.
Would you like to come back sometime?
Not now.
Peter, nice to have you with us.
Thank you, Ernie. It's good to be here.
That was our final episode of Grandstand Quarterback, and we want to thank you all for participating and invite you to join us again next year for another edition of Grandstand Quarterback.
Grandstand Quarterback is brought to you by Sony of Canada Limited, manufacturers of quality home entertainment products.
Well, we certainly hope that you enjoyed our series on Grandstand Quarterback, talking with Sam Echeverry and our own Russ Jackson, Nabi Rakowski, and all the others, and that you could play along at home with our sponsors' coupons, trying to pick and decide what the quarterbacks might have picked. It's amazing that those quarterbacks can dip back into their memory and come up with the exact play and remember it so very well. We have an 8-6 football game here as the Tiger Cats lead the Toronto Argonauts. One of these clubs has only 30 minutes left in the 1978 season. We'll find out about that later. We pause for this message, then we'll be back with the highlights.
You never know exactly when you'll be glad you bought your winter Michelins. Maybe it'll be on a tough, icy curve. Or it might be on a snow-covered hill. But sometime this winter,
Daddy!
you'll be glad you didn't compromise on your tires. And just as glad that we don't.
It's lightweight. It's portable. It's virtually indestructible. You can hammer on it, saw on it, sand on it, paint on it, drive a screw on it, cut a pipe on it, plane a door on it, fix a picture on it, or a wheelbarrow, or a chair, or a bicycle. You can even have your lunch on it. The incredible Black & Decker Workmate. You'll wonder how you ever worked without it.
This is Inner Space. The 79 Chevrolet Malibu. It measures up on the inside where dimensions really count. It gives you easy-to-remove dashboard modules. High-pressure compact spare for inner trunk space. V6 engine saves space, saves weight. 79 Chevrolet Malibu. A new star in the age of inner space.
Tuesday night on CBC, get together for an energy-packed half hour on the Rennie Simard Show with special guest Salami Bay.
All about the things that I believe in, like respect and love and understanding and appreciating.
And Joey Travolta.
Oh, I don't want to go, but I can't stay here no more.
Good times on the Rennie Simard Show Tuesday at 8:30 on CBC.
Back with you at Ivor Stadium, and Russ, we figured pre-game that Hamilton might have the edge defensively. Ike Thomas certainly tested the Argonauts the way he blitzed from time to time, and I thought timed his play very beautifully on one occasion.
Well, Don, he came twice in that first half. Once he came a little late, but he did upset Alvin White that he missed Peter Mueller in that first drive when the Argonaut team was looking so good offensively. But then later in the second quarter, in a tough situation when they were 2nd and 15, Ike Thomas came in there. He timed the safety blitz perfectly. The Argonauts did not pick it up, and he did throw the quarterback for a 12-yard loss on that particular occasion. And it causes the quarterback some grief because he's got to think about what's happening, especially on those passing downs.
Well, later on, as the Cats rallied in the final seconds, they were aided in their touchdown drive by a very controversial call. It was a pass to Bill Harrison, and here it is right now.
Well, the Argonauts got initial pressure on the quarterback, and it was a good block by Alan Moffat. To the right of your screen now, 42 McIver will chase the quarterback. Moffat will come back, get McIver down, and Burley gets pushed aside. Harrison makes the catch, and Marshall, 15, just makes the contact. And the real question is, was the ball out of his hands before he hit the ground, or did he hit the ground first? Because the official has to make the call that way. But it did help the Tiger Cats on. 2 plays later, with only about 8 seconds left as the ball was snapped, Jimmy Jones got great protection from the offensive line, had good vision downfield, and either Jim Marshall or Mike Williams, 15 or 14, made a serious mistake because Kerry Smith got in behind them by 10 or 15 yards and took it in the end zone with 2 or 3 seconds left on the clock. And that has to be a big lift for the Hamilton team and a downer for the Argonaut team going into the dressing room.
Well, the strange part is they'd been burned earlier by Smith, and it happened again. This time it stood up. Well, we'll be right back with the second half of today's important game in just a moment.
A recent shell test showed many people didn't know what shape their cars were in. Out of 215 cars tested, 208 had problems. That's 97%. We found 179 cars had fluid level problems, 56 had electrical faults, and 44 had exhaust system problems. problems that could lead to expensive repairs if not corrected early. That's why Shell wrote the Early Warning Book, one in a series of helpful books, free from Shell. Shell helps.
Tuesday night on CBC, the Fifth Estate. In the face of a world embargo, freighters steam the Atlantic, laden with weapons of war for southern Africa. Their cargo began in Canada, their final destination uncertain, their trade a mystery. Canada's role in shipping arms to Africa. An exclusive report by Eric Melling, Tuesday at 9:30 on The Fifth Estate.
Well, here's how these teams compared in the first half statistically, and Hamilton, in 10 yards of Toronto, really mounted most of that offense in that final drive that led to their touchdown, the game's only TD so far. Toronto with a slight edge in first downs, an edge in the rushing game, Hamilton ahead on the passing game. And so total offense of 240 yards, and there's the man who has the touchdown, Kerry Smith. And that gave the Tiger Cats an 8-6 lead, the one they enjoy right now. Singles told the story in the first quarter, then conceded safety touches, and a single gave the Argonauts a 6-1 lead. Then came the touchdown strike, just 3 seconds remaining in the second quarter. Jones to Smith for 40 yards, and it's 8-6 Hamilton.
Don, as I mentioned, just as we were ending those highlights, this Hamilton club has to be lifted by that particular touchdown, but I still think Jimmy Jones is going to have to change his format as far as calling plays in this ball game. He can't run on first down consistently. The only success he really has had is when he's tried to throw on that first down. Even if he picks up 6 or 7 yards, it gives that 2nd and 2, 2nd and 3 situation to the Hamilton team, which makes it more difficult for the Toronto team to defend. So I really look to Jimmy Jones to maybe vary that first down call a little bit more than he did in that first half. But the real impressive guy, I think, this afternoon, to me, has been Comet Burley. I wouldn't have bet that he could have played the type of ball game he has this afternoon after having not played at all this year.
Okay.
All right, let's go down to Tom McKee.
And the immediate future of Neil Lumsden very, very well might determine the immediate future of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. How's the foot?
It's pretty sore. I've definitely sprained it, but they're not sure if they're little fragments or chips or anything. So they just taped it up real tight, and we're going to go from there. And if I have to, I will, but I'm definitely going to kick.
Looks like you're walking on broken glass.
Not a little less painless, I hope. But
well, good luck. We'll see what happens in an 8-6 football game. They're going to have to look to you.
Well, I hope so. I hope I can do it.
Here's Ian Sutter getting the second half underway. Aykroyd from his 10-yard line cuts across field and then lunges up around the 25-yard line, but a penalty flag has been thrown. They may have fingered Dave Haddon for clipping on that play. John Payne doesn't like it, but you hardly expect him to enjoy a clipping call that will push his team this far back. It is against Dave Haddon. For clipping, back to the 10-yard line. That's where the Cats will start.
Well, one of those things on the kickoff return, I was surprised that we tried to run it all the way across the field. The ball was kicked almost to the sideline on the right-hand side, and even though they had a left return lined up, you should try and bring it up that sideline as far as you can and forget about trying to run across field.
Jimmy Edwards to the outside, runs laterally for about a yard. Forced out by Billy Hardee. At the 11-yard line, it's going to be 2nd and 9. The Cats know they have to make a move on this play because they've got a punter in there unless Lumsden can come back. In Zach Henderson, who takes so long to get the ball away with an end zone charge, it might give up a touchdown. So if they did give up a safety touch here, it would fall back into a tie. So it's an important second down. Comes the Argonaut blitz. Harrison does not get the first down. He's to the 14-yard line for a gain of 3. It was Brad Cousineau who got him.
Well, the Toronto Argonauts doing exactly what Hamilton does. They brought number 20, the safety, Paul Bennett. He got one arm on Harrison and slowed him down, and the rest of the Toronto team pulled him down much short of that first down. But that safety blitz is becoming more and more effective for both these teams as the ball game wears on.
Here is Zach Henderson standing a step inside the end zone. gets it away comfortably. Cross midfield to Paul Bennett. Got a good bounce. And then he is hit down. The ball came loose, recovered by the Argonauts' Billy Hardy. Ben Zambezi in on the tackle, a crunching one on Paul Bennett, and he is still down. He clotheslined him coming through, and Bennett is paying the price for that play.
Well, Paul Bennett, lucky to get the ball back, went right through his arms and bounced right back up to him. But as he came down here, there's Zambezi putting the shot to him, and then he was hit again twice by Meeks and Vlaschuk. And he is hurting a little bit out there, you might say now.
I think he had his bell rung. I think they're giving him a little bit of smelling salts right now to bring him around. Remember, in our last game, he's complaining of a sore leg. That's been a recurring thing this year, but I don't think that's the situation now.
No. You're right, that bell was rung, and Paul Bennett taking a little time and coming around.
Ding, ding, ding.
We're just into the third quarter. A minute gone. It is 8-6 Hamilton. And the Argonauts could ill afford to lose this man.
Well, I'll tell you, Russ, it looks as if it's going to go right down to the wire in this game, too.
Well, the referee off at the side there talking to some of the people on the sideline.
Paul Bennett not making much of a move yet.
Can't move, you're not awake.
They have a veteran, Wayne Allison, who played for this Toronto club for many years and then was traded out west to Calgary, who would come in as the replacement for Bennett if he cannot continue.
We thought last week that knee injury he sustained might be serious enough to keep him out. He came back from that. Let's see if Paul Bennett can return from this injury.
He's none too sure, is he?
He might have been cut. He's got
does look like a cut, doesn't it?
Cloth over the right eye as he heads off.
Knowlton was cut back in the second quarter, right between the eyes, as a matter of fact.
That'll just improve Gord's appearance. He'll like that.
You tell him.
Makes him look mean. Well, in college football yesterday, St. FX over Acadia 12-9, and Queens over McGill 23-1. And the other semifinal is going to feature Laurier in an upset of Western against the UBC Thunderbirds, who demolished Calgary 26-8.
He did take a pretty good shot. He is still woozy 5 minutes after it happened almost.
Well, we'll find out in a few moments from Tom as to what did happen to him. First down, the pitch out to Terry Metcalf. Zambezi again. What a game he's played. Number 47 for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, containing Terry Metcalf to about, well, not even a yard. Virtually no gain. And down for Hamilton is an important member of their defense, Ray Nettles. It's been a tough physical game, as we had expected. But the injuries have certainly mounted here. Lumsden only able to kick now for Hamilton if required. Ooh, Nettles twinged when the trainer came out to test that leg. Of course, Bass left with a suspected cracked kneecap. Paul Bennett a moment ago, and now Ray Nettles.
Paul Bennett at the bench is recovering. He got a crack right on the eye, and that always has to give you some concern and scare you a little bit. He'll get some ice on it to prevent any or as much swelling as possible. The other side, Ray Nettles coming off the field.
Tom, we're going to keep you busy running back and forth between those two benches.
I wish they'd sit together. They'd sit together and make it a lot easier, you know.
Well, your next assignment is to find out what happened to Ray Nettles.
I'll be there.
Obvious. A leg injury. It's the Leafs and the Montreal Canadiens. A long-awaited matchup on Hockey Night in Canada. Coming up next Saturday. It's the first of 2 Leaf Canadian games this season on Hockey Night. So watch for it next Saturday from the Montreal Forum right here on CBC television.
Those Montreal.
We might be able to see what happened to Ray Nettles, number 57.
Check and see if
Nettles gets hit pretty good there and comes down right on his shoulder and in the leg area, but took a good block as he's trying to pursue outside against Metcalf with Zambezi.
Just said here that he got hit on the inside of his right knee, Russ.
Well, that'll do it.
Every time.
Well, there was a yard gain by Terry Metcalf limbering up out there as the Argonauts' drive has been cooled off by a wave of recent injuries. They've only played 1 minute and 30 seconds in this third quarter. Ray Nettles gets some work.
John Payne was overtaking. Look, that's how concerned he is. And the doctor said it should be all right, but we'll wait and see.
This is 2nd down and 9. Here comes the charge on Whitey and loads to Peter Mueller. And the big tight end cracks down for what may be a first down at the Hamilton 48-yard line. Dave Shaw contained him there.
Well, the Tiger Cats.
Problems that could lead to expensive repairs if not corrected early. That's why Shell wrote the Early Warning Book, one in a series of helpful books, free from Shell. Shell helps.
Tuesday night on CBC, the Fifth Estate. In the face of a world embargo, freighters steam the Atlantic laden with weapons of war for southern Africa. Their cargo began in Canada, their final destination uncertain, their trade a mystery. Canada's role in shipping arms to Africa. An exclusive report by Eric Melling, Tuesday at 9:30 on The Fifth Estate.
Well, here's how these teams compared in the first half statistically, and Hamilton, within 10 yards of Toronto, really mounted most of that offense in that final drive that led to their touchdown, the game's only TD so far. Toronto with a slight edge in first downs, an edge in the rushing game. Hamilton ahead on the passing game. And so total offense of 240 yards, and there's the man who has the touchdown, Kerry Smith. And that gave the Tiger Cats an 8-6 lead, the one they enjoy right now. Singles told the story in the first quarter, then conceded safety touches, and a single gave the Argonauts a 6-1 lead. Then came the touchdown strike, just 3 seconds remaining in the second quarter. Jones to Smith for 40 yards, and it's 8-6 Hamilton.
Don, as I mentioned, just as we were ending those highlights, this Hamilton club has to be lifted by that particular touchdown, but I still think Jimmy Jones is going to have to change his format as far as calling plays in this ball game. He can't run on first down consistently. The only success he really has had is when he's tried to throw on that first down. Even if he picks up 6 or 7 yards, it gives that 2nd and 2, 2nd and 3 situation to the Hamilton team, which makes it more difficult for the Toronto team to defend. So I really look to Jimmy Jones to maybe vary that first down call a little bit more than he did in that first half. But the real impressive guy, I think, this afternoon, to me, has been Comet Burley. I wouldn't have bet that he could have played the type of ball game he has this afternoon after having not played at all this year.
Okay.
All right, let's go down to Tom McKee.
And the immediate future of Neil Lumsden very, very well might determine the immediate future of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. How's the foot?
It's pretty sore. I've definitely sprained it, but they're not sure if they're little fragments or chips or anything. So they just taped it up real tight, and we're going to go from there. And if I have to, I will, but I'm definitely going to kick.
Looks like you're walking on broken glass.
Not a little less painless, I hope. But
well, good luck. We'll see what happens in an 8-6 football game. They're going to have to look to you.
Well, I hope so. I hope I can do it.
Here's Ian Sutter getting the second half underway. Aykroyd from his 10-yard line cuts across field and then lunges up around the 25-yard line, but a penalty flag has been thrown. They may have fingered Dave Haddon for clipping on that play. John Payne doesn't like it. You'd hardly expect him to enjoy a clipping call that will push his team this far back. It is against Dave Haddon. For clipping, back to the 10-yard line. That's where the Cats will start.
Well, one of those things on the kickoff return, I was surprised that we tried to run it all the way across the field. The ball was kicked almost to the sideline on the right-hand side, and even though they had a left return lined up, you should try and bring it up that sideline as far as you can and forget about trying to run across field.
Jimmy Edwards to the outside, runs laterally for about a yard. Forced out by Billy Hardy. At the 11-yard line, it's going to be 2nd and 9. The Cats know they have to make a move on this play because they've got a punter in there unless Lumsden can come back. In Zach Henderson, who takes so long to get the ball away with an end zone charge, it might give up a touchdown. So they, if they did give up a safety touch here, would fall back into a tie. So it's an important 2nd down. Comes the Argonaut blitz. Harrison does not get the first down. He's to the 14-yard line for a gain of 3. It was Brad Cousineau who got him.
Well, the Toronto Argonauts doing exactly what Hamilton does. They brought number 20, the safety, Paul Bennett. He got one arm on Harrison and slowed him down, and the rest of the Toronto team pulled him down much short of that first down. But that safety blitz is becoming more and more effective for both these teams as the ball game wears on.
Here is Zach Henderson standing a step inside the end zone. He gets it away comfortably. Cross midfield to Paul Bennett. Got a good bounce. And then he is hit down. The ball came loose, recovered by the Argonauts' Billy Hardy. Ben Zambezi in on the tackle, a crunching one on Paul Bennett, and he is still down. He clotheslined him coming through, and Bennett is paying the price for that play.
Well, Paul Bennett, lucky to get the ball back, went right through his arms and bounced right back up to him. But as he came down here, there's Zambezi putting the shot to him, and then he was hit again twice by Meeks and Vlaschuk. And he is hurting a little bit out there, you might say now.
I think he had his bell rung. I think they're giving him a little bit of smelling salts right now to bring him around. Remember, in our last game, he's complaining of a sore leg. That's been a recurring thing this year, but I don't think that's the situation now.
No. You're right, that bell was rung, and Paul Bennett taking a little time and coming around.
Ding, ding, ding.
We're just into the 3rd quarter. A minute gone. It is 8-6 Hamilton. And the Argonauts can ill afford to lose this man.
Well, I'll tell you, Russ, it looks as if it's going to go right down to the wire in this game, too.
Well, the referee off at the side there talking to some of the people on the sideline.
Paul Bennett not making much of a move yet.
Can't move, you're not awake.
They have a veteran, Wayne Allison, who played for this Toronto club for many years and then was traded out west to Calgary, who would come in as the replacement for Bennett if he cannot continue.
We thought last week that knee injury he sustained might be serious enough to keep him out. He came back from that. Let's see if Paul Bennett can return from this injury.
He's none too sure, is he?
He might have been cut. He's got
does look like a cut, doesn't it?
Cloth over the right eye as he heads off.
Knowlton was cut back in the 2nd quarter, right between the eyes, as a matter of fact.
That'll just improve Gord's appearance. He'll like that.
You tell him.
Makes him look mean. Well, in college football yesterday, St. FX over Acadia 12-9, and Queens over McGill 23-1. And the other semifinal is going to feature Laurier in an upset of Western against the UBC Thunderbirds, who demolished Calgary 26-8.
He did take a pretty good shot. He is still woozy 5 minutes after it happened almost.
Well, we'll find out in a few moments from Tom as to what did happen to him. First down, the pitch out to Terry Metcalf. Zambezi again. What a game he's played. Number 47 for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, containing Terry Metcalf to about, well, not even a yard. Virtually no gain. And down for Hamilton is an important member of their defense, Ray Nettles. It's been a tough physical game, as we had expected. But the injuries have certainly mounted here. Lumsden only able to kick now for Hamilton if required. Ooh, Nettles twinged when the trainer came out to test that leg. Of course, Bass left with a suspected cracked kneecap. Paul Bennett a moment ago, and now Ray Nettles.
Paul Bennett at the bench is recovering. He got a crack right on the eye, and that always has to give you some concern and scare you a little bit. He'll get some ice on it to prevent any or as much swelling as possible. The other side, Ray Nettles coming off the field.
Tom, we're going to keep you busy running back and forth between those two benches.
I wish they'd sit together. They'd sit together and make it a lot easier, you know.
Well, your next assignment is to find out what happened to Ray Nettles.
I'll be there.
Obvious. A leg injury. It's the Leafs and the Montreal Canadiens. A long-awaited matchup on Hockey Night in Canada. Coming up next Saturday. It's the first of 2 Leaf Canadian games this season on Hockey Night. So watch for it next Saturday from the Montreal Forum right here on CBC television.
That's Montreal.
We might be able to see what happened to Ray Nettles, number 57.
Check and
Ray
see
Nettles
if he
gets hit pretty good there and comes down right on his shoulder and in the leg area, but took a good block as he's trying to pursue outside against Metcalf with Zambezi.
just said here that he got hit on the inside of his right knee, Russ.
Well, that'll do it.
Every time.
Well, there was a yard gain by Terry Metcalf limbering up out there as the Argonauts' drive has been cooled off by a wave of recent injuries. They've only played 1 minute and 30 seconds in this third quarter. Ray Nettles gets some work.
John Payne was overtaking. Look, that's how concerned he is. And the doctor said it should be all right, but we'll wait and see.
This is 2nd down and 9. Here comes the charge on Whitey and loads to Peter Mueller. And the big tight end cracks down for what may be a first down at the Hamilton 48-yard line. Dave Shaw contained him there.
Well, the Tiger Cats coming with the blitz, bringing everybody. Got to White very quickly. Mueller made a good reception, then cut back inside. Number 7, Ike Thomas, who overplayed it. And it was number 37, David Shaw, who had to put the hit on Mueller. And he's pretty close to that first down if he doesn't have it. He does have it.
Just.
But White took quite a shot as he released that ball to Peter Mueller, and he was slow getting up.
Mark McDonald coming in now with a play likely from Coach Bud Riley at the Argonaut bench as they go first down for the Hamilton 48-yard line.
Quick word from the bench. Nettles is okay. He'll be back.
The Hamilton fan, that's a good word. Metcalf makes that outside cut, and Zambezi has got to be king on him much of the time today, is tracking him down right there and limiting that gain to about 5 yards. There he is, Ben Zambezi, undoubtedly the defensive standout for Hamilton in this game.
He's the rookie nominee in the East for the Outstanding Player Awards, having only played half the season. And you might think what a chance he would have had he been there all year. Again, Nettles, we see on the bench there, getting worked over by the training staff of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, putting some stick-em on that knee. And we'll be back at Iverwin Stadium in just a moment.
When you got it, you know it. When you got it, you show it.
Having a family isn't the only reason for owning a full-size car. Like Pontiac's magnificent 1979 Parisienne, which has a lot more going for it besides room. The resizing some cars are just getting around to now, Pontiac made happen 2 years ago. Pontiac's got it made. Go get it.
Nobody's got it like Pontiac.
You got it, Pontiac.
Introducing the patented Mark collar from Arrow. Revolutionary, and that's fact. It's the first collar ever shaped to fit the human neck. Until now, men's collars have been cut like a tube. The Mark's ingenious shaping is like a comb. Result, a comfort like you've never experienced before. A new, crisp look with the neckband out of sight. The patented Mark Regular, and now the patented Mark Spread. Only by Arrow.
It would appear, Russ, that Peter Mueller is having more trouble with that lingering on-again, off-again knee situation of his.
I think that's
He's
right.
had that He's had that knee problem for some time, and last week didn't start. Here, it's Metcalf and Zambezi coming in as he's trying to block on number 34, Zach Henderson.
Unavoidable
and he got
clip.
caught. That's
Unavoidable
exactly
clip
it.
is what it was. He went right back into him at the tail end of that play. There's Zambezi. So effective for Hamilton today. 2nd down and 5. The 43-yard line. Terry Metcalf does not get the first down. Contained at the 40-yard line by Clifton Alapa. Number 42, John Martini, who's been in playing for the injured Ray Nettles. It's going to be 3rd down and about 2.5. Argonauts sending in their kicking team now. Ian Sutter will be attempting a field goal. It'll come from around 47 yards away. Sutter has been having trouble hitting on them the latter part of this season.
Could be aware of a fake field goal anytime in these ball games as well, Don, because it's coming down to that nitty-gritty. His longest has been 47 yards, and that's where he's kicking it from now.
It's offline. Jimmy Edwards in the end zone. Takes his time, then makes his move. Laterally. I don't know what he's doing back there. That's a dangerous situation. He finally gives up the single point. There's no need to kill time with 11:18 to play in the 3rd quarter, and in doing that, he always runs the risk of losing another fumble.
Well, you're right, Don, and the coach must be having, Coach John Payne must be having heart failure on the sideline, wondering what is Jimmy doing.
8-7 now. They're a point apart. Hamilton on top. 11:18 to play in this 3rd quarter, and these lineups being juggled drastically because of injuries in this rather bruising test to determine which team goes on to play the Montreal Alouettes. And that may not be much of a prize when you consider how Montreal played against Ottawa yesterday in a big 26-8 win. 31,005 people here to watch this one. From the Hamilton 40, Jones fires it out left side. A flea flicker that looked to be offside. It's intercepted by the Toronto Argonauts. They finally whistled it down because they were out of bounds. Mike Williams got the ball finally. Somebody gave it to him. Kerry Smith tried the flea flicker, which looked to be offside. Like he passed ahead. An Argonaut picked it off. We'll figure it out right now.
Wow, this is a new wrinkle, and it was a good play. 1st down pass. Edwards came out of the backfield. If there was a clean flip here to Edwards, he might have gone all the way for a touchdown because no one was expecting it. Edwards didn't get the ball. It bounced off him to Mike Williams, and he stepped out of bounds at about the Hamilton 51-yard line. But if that had been a clean toss to Edwards, I'm sure he would have scored.
All right, the Argonauts win it on a turnover at the 51. Mark Braganola upended at the 49-yard line after 2 yards. Zach Henderson spilled him. We have 10 minutes and 20 seconds left in this 3rd quarter. This has been the kind of football game that you expect to see break open. We saw it twice. Kerry Smith catching 2 passes, 1 called back. But you get the feeling the Argonauts are capable of exploding with a big play. For Harris. Oh, just taken away by Art Thomas. Just tipped away. Thomas a little upset about not getting the interception, but he did a great job to knock it down.
That ball was extremely well thrown by Alvin White. He got good protection here, and number 7, Big Harris, came downfield. Mike Harris, and he lofted this ball up trying to overthrow both Shaw and Ike Thomas, but Thomas just did a good job. Thought he should have made the interception, and then Harris almost came up with it before it hit the ground.
Thomas with his back almost to the ball to make that play, and so Ken Clark will be in to punt on 3rd down and 8. It's a good one away into the crosswind. 2 yards into the end zone for Jimmy Edwards. He's out. Just out. The Cats will start deep at their own 2-yard line. More Zukowicz and Tim Allen combining for the Toronto tackles. 8-7 for Hamilton early in the third quarter.
Well, this becomes a real test now for this Hamilton offense starting on that 2-yard line.
Tom?
Well, there's Peter Mueller, and I think you hit it right on the nose, Don, when you said it's a recurring problem with that knee injury that he's had time and time again. He got hit on the outside of it, might have banged up some ligaments or cartilage in there. Meantime, it's rattling around, and they put some ice on it to ease any pain. Meantime, if we can find him.
There's Paul.
Bennett is up walking around. He has a cut on his right eyelid. He got hit with the face mask.
Into the end zone out to Edwards, and that'll be a Toronto safety touch. Well read by the Argonaut defense, and that puts them back into the lead. It was Gordy Knowlton shooting in, wrapping up Jimmy Edwards early. He had him pegged all the way. 2 points Toronto. They go on top 9-8 in a strange football game.
Well, that's 3 safety touches for the Toronto Argonauts this afternoon. 2 of them conceded by Zach Henderson when he was punting out of the end zone, and that one earned by Gordy Knowlton as he played Edwards very well. He was one-on-one outside with one of the real good offensive running backs and made the good solid hit on him. Good call by Jimmy Jones back at the 2-yard line. A safe play, throwing it out to Edwards. He's one-on-one on the linebacker. If he beats Knowlton, he might get them out to the 10-yard line where they have a little breathing room. But Knowlton made the solid hit and got the 2 points.
There have only been 6 safety touches in the entire season. The Argonauts have only had 1, and yet they have 3 this afternoon. Mind you, 2 were conceded by the Hamilton Tiger Cats. That one well earned by Gordy Knowlton. 9-8. Argonaut receivers Williams and Metcalf back at the 5 for Neil Lumsden's kickoff. Williams moves up under it. 20-yard line. And upended by the first man to hit him, Zach Henderson, short of the 35. The Argonauts will start from around the 33. An 18-yard return. And that's the price, of course, you pay. It can be a costly price in a close game such as this. The kickoff, having given up 2 points. Trying to recall how many safety touches that Bud Grant's Blue Bombers gave up in that 1965 game. It was 3, so I can't recall any more in one game. 3 this afternoon as well. Metcalf was run down by Jack Blair. Tried to follow the blocking of his pulling guard Bill Norton, and got it up to around the 39-yard line. That's good for a gain of 5.5. Well, it's all on the line today for John Payne and his counterpart Bud Riley, the coach of Toronto. The winner goes to Montreal next Saturday. The loser, well, the weather stays warm. I get some golf in. There's Bud Riley, who's taken over as head coach midway in the season after Leo Cahill was fired. Not certain of his status next year. Reports have him moving on to another job that he has locked up already. And a mix-up there as White has to hang on to the ball. No gain, maybe a loss of 1.
Well, there's that safety blitz again with Ike Thomas coming in there, and the quarterback is already called to play. The center's trying to block, and Thomas is hurt now as he came in on that safety blitz and was in on the tackle of Alvin White. You'll see number 7 coming in there now. Nobody picks him up now. He got hit pretty hard by the offensive guard, and then he had to recover. Bill Norton. And we'll be back with Ike Thomas going off the field here at Iverwood Stadium in just a moment.
CBC Wednesday, a gift to last. A group of Ukrainian immigrants become stranded in Tamarack, and the town becomes divided.
I'm really frightened. I've never seen people like that. And one of them touched me.
But where are those people going to sleep tonight?
That's it, that I'm running the whole pack of them out of this town. They've got to go.
For everyone, a gift to last. Wednesday at 8 on CBC.
Ike Thomas is limped out. Bowman comes in to replace him. Third down. Argonauts getting set to punt.
That was just a cramp for Ike Thomas. It's okay.
Ken Clark. It's a line drive away. Aykroyd across the 45-yard line, taken down to the 47. After a 38-yard punt, he brought it back 15 yards. So Hamilton starts out of their 47-yard line, as we'll see this run back again.
Well, Aykroyd takes this low punt, put his head down, almost seemed surprised that he broke through that far. Then they missed him again as he went down. But a good run back, giving Hamilton probably the best field position they've had in this half.
He was taken down by the law of gravity. Harrison has no gain. Stopped by Marty Smith. He's the player the Argonauts kept, letting Al Romano go in a somewhat controversial decision made earlier in the week. They must like what Smith has done for them in his limited stay in Toronto. Billy Hardee, number 30, getting set for this next play defensively. We have 6 minutes and 50 seconds in the third quarter. Toronto 9, Hamilton 8. Jones sets, and his receiver, Leif Patterson, dropped the football. Fired a good bullet. Patterson couldn't hang on to it. Jones is 6 for 8, 83 yards today. He really hasn't quarterbacked that badly, except, as we said in the first half, Russ, his play selection, avoiding the first down pass so consistently, although he's shown more of it in this half.
And you hate to second guess the quarterback, because he might be instructions from the coaching staff to call that type of game, but it appears he has to go to that pass on first down to be successful.
Argo.
Shell helps.
Tuesday night on CBC, the Fifth Estate. In the face of a world embargo, freighters steam the Atlantic laden with weapons of war for southern Africa. Their cargo began in Canada, their final destination uncertain, their trade a mystery. Canada's role in shipping arms to Africa. An exclusive report by Eric Melling, Tuesday at 9:30 on The Fifth Estate.
Well, here's how these teams compared in the first half statistically, and Hamilton, within 10 yards of Toronto, really mounted most of that offense in that final drive that led to their touchdown, the game's only TD so far. Toronto with a slight edge in first downs, an edge in the rushing game. Hamilton ahead on the passing game. And so total offense of 240 yards. And there's the man who has the touchdown, Kerry Smith. And that gave the Tiger Cats an 8-6 lead, the one they enjoy right now. Singles told the story in the first quarter, then conceded safety touches, and a single gave the Argonauts a 6-1 lead. Then came the touchdown strike, just 3 seconds remaining in the second quarter. Jones to Smith for 40 yards, and it's 8-6 Hamilton.
Don, as I mentioned, just as we were ending those highlights, this Hamilton club has to be lifted by that particular touchdown, but I still think Jimmy Jones is going to have to change his format as far as calling plays in this ball game. He can't run on first down consistently. The only success he really has had is when he's tried to throw on that first down. Even if he picks up 6 or 7 yards, it gives that 2nd and 2, 2nd and 3 situation to the Hamilton team, which makes it more difficult for the Toronto team to defend. So I really look to Jimmy Jones to maybe vary that first down call a little bit more than he did in that first half. But the real impressive guy, I think, this afternoon, to me, has been Comet Burley. I wouldn't have bet that he could have played the type of ball game he has this afternoon after having not played at all this year.
Okay.
All right, let's go down to Tom McKee.
And the immediate future of Neil Lumsden very, very well might determine the immediate future of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. How's the foot?
It's pretty sore. I've definitely sprained it, but they're not sure if they're little fragments or chips or anything. So they just taped it up real tight, and we're going to go from there. And if I have to, I will, but I'm definitely going to kick.
Looks like you're walking on broken glass.
Not a little less painless, I hope. But
well, good luck. We'll see what happens in an 8-6 football game. They're going to have to look to you.
Well, I hope so. I hope I can do it.
Here's Ian Sutter getting the second half underway. Aykroyd from his 10-yard line cuts across field and then lunges up around the 25-yard line, but a penalty flag has been thrown. They may have fingered Dave Haddon for clipping on that play. John Payne doesn't like it. But you'd hardly expect him to enjoy a clipping call that would push his team this far back. It is against Dave Haddon. For clipping back to the 10-yard line. That's where the Cats will start.
Well, one of those things on the kickoff return, I was surprised that we tried to run it all the way across the field. The ball was kicked almost to the sideline on the right-hand side, and even though they had a left return lined up, you should try and bring it up that sideline as far as you can and forget about trying to run across field.
Jimmy Edwards to the outside, runs laterally for about a yard. Forced out by Billy Hardee. At the 11-yard line, it's going to be 2nd and 9. The Cats know they have to make a move on this play because they've got a punter in there unless Lumsden can come back. In Zach Henderson, who takes so long to get the ball away with an end zone charge, it might give up a touchdown. So if they did give up a safety touch here, it would fall back into a tie. So it's an important second down. Comes the Argonaut blitz. Harrison does not get the first down. He's to the 14-yard line for a gain of 3. It was Brad Cousineau who got him.
Well, the Toronto Argonauts doing exactly what Hamilton does. They brought number 20, the safety, Paul Bennett. He got one arm on Harrison and slowed him down, and the rest of the Toronto team pulled him down much short of that first down. But that safety blitz is becoming more and more effective for both these teams as the ball game wears on.
Here is Zach Henderson standing a step inside the end zone. He gets it away comfortably. Cross midfield to Paul Bennett. Got a good bounce. And then he is hit down. The ball came loose, recovered by the Argonauts' Billy Hardee. Ben Zambezi in on the tackle, a crunching one on Paul Bennett, and he is still down. He clotheslined him coming through, and Bennett is paying the price for that play.
Well, Paul Bennett, lucky to get the ball back, went right through his arms and bounced right back up to him. But as he came down here, there's Zambezi putting the shot to him, and then he was hit again twice by Meeks and Vlaschuk. And he is hurting a little bit out there, you might say now.
I think he had his bell rung. I think they're giving him a little bit of smelling salts right now to bring him around. Remember, in our last game, he's complaining of a sore leg. That's been a recurring thing this year, but I don't think that's the situation now.
No. You're right, that bell was rung, and Paul Bennett taking a little time and coming around.
Ding, ding, ding.
We're just into the third quarter. A minute gone. It is 8-6 Hamilton. And the Argonauts can ill afford to lose this man.
Well, I'll tell you, Russ, it looks as if it's going to go right down to the wire in this game, too.
Well, the referee off at the side there talking to some of the people on the sideline.
Bennett. Not making much of a move yet.
Can't move, you're not awake.
They have a veteran, Wayne Allison, who played for this Toronto club for many years and then was traded out west to Calgary, who would come in as the replacement for Bennett if he cannot continue.
We thought last week that knee injury he sustained might be serious enough to keep him out. He came back from that. Let's see if Paul Bennett can return from this injury.
He's none too sure, is he?
He might have been cut. He's got
does look like a cut, doesn't it?
Cloth over the right eye as he heads off.
Knowlton was cut back in the second quarter, right between the eyes, as a matter of fact.
That'll just improve Gord's appearance. He'll like that.
You tell him.
Makes him look mean. Well, in college football yesterday, St. FX over Acadia 12-9, and Queens over McGill 23-1. And the other semifinal is going to feature Laurier in an upset of Western against the UBC Thunderbirds, who demolished Calgary 26-8.
He did take a pretty good shot. He is still woozy 5 minutes after it happened almost.
Well, we'll find out in a few moments for Tom as to what did happen to him. First down, the pitch out to Terry Metcalf. Zambezi again. What a game he's played. Number 47 for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, containing Terry Metcalf to about, well, not even a yard. Virtually no gain. And down for Hamilton is an important member of their defense, Ray Nettles. It's been a tough physical game, as we had expected. But the injuries have certainly mounted here. Lumsden only able to kick now for Hamilton if required. Ooh, Nettles twinged when the trainer came out to test that leg. Of course, Bass left with a suspected cracked kneecap. Paul Bennett a moment ago, and now Ray Nettles.
Paul Bennett at the bench is recovering. He got a crack right on the eye, and that always has to give you some concern and scare you a little bit. They'll get some ice on it to prevent any or as much swelling as possible. The other side, Ray Nettles coming off the field.
Tom, we're going to keep you busy running back and forth between those two benches.
I wish they'd sit together. They'd sit together and make it a lot easier, you know.
Well, your next assignment is to find out what happened to Ray Nettles.
I'll be there.
Obvious. A leg injury. It's the Leafs and the Montreal Canadiens. A long-awaited matchup on Hockey Night in Canada. Coming up next Saturday. It's the first of 2 Leaf Canadian games this season on Hockey Night. So watch for it next Saturday from the Montreal Forum right here on CBC television.
As Montreal.
We might be able to see what happened to Ray Nettles, number 57.
Check and see if
Nettles gets hit pretty good there and comes down right on his shoulder and in the leg area, but took a good block as he's trying to pursue outside against Metcalf with Zambezi.
Just said here that he got hit on the inside of his right knee, Russ.
Well, that'll do it.
Every time.
Well, there was a yard gain by Terry Metcalf limbering up out there as the Argonauts' drive has been cooled off by a wave of recent injuries. They've only played 1 minute and 30 seconds in this third quarter. Ray Nettles gets some work.
John Payne was overtaking. Look, that's how concerned he is. And the doctor said it should be all right, but we'll wait and see.
This is second down and 9. Here comes the charge on Whitey and loads to Peter Mueller. And the big tight end cracks down for what may be a first down at the Hamilton 48-yard line. Dave Shaw contained him there.
Well, the Tiger Cats coming with the blitz, bringing everybody. Got to White very quickly. Mueller made a good reception, then cut back inside. Number 7, Ike Thomas, who overplayed it, and it was number 37, David Shaw, who had to put the hit on Mueller, and he's pretty close to that first down if he doesn't have it. He does have it.
Just.
But White took quite a shot as he released that ball to Peter Mueller, and he was slow getting up.
Mark McDonald coming in now. With a play likely from Coach Bud Riley at the Argonaut bench as they go first down for the Hamilton 48-yard line.
Quick word from the bench. Nettles is okay. He'll be back.
The Hamilton fan, that's a good word. Metcalf makes that outside cut, and Zambezi He's got to be keying on him much of the time today, is tracking him down right there and limiting that gain to about 5 yards. There he is, Ben Zambezi, undoubtedly the defensive standout for Hamilton in this game.
He's the rookie nominee in the East for the Outstanding Player Awards, having only played half the season. And you might think what a chance he would have had he been there all year. Again, Nettles, we see on the bench there, getting worked over by the training staff of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, putting some stickum on that knee. And we'll be back at Iverwin Stadium in just a moment.
When you got it, you know it. When you got it, you show it.
Having a family isn't the only reason for owning a full-size car. Like Pontiac's magnificent 1979 Parisienne, which has a lot more going for it besides room. The resizing some cars are just getting around to now, Pontiac made happen 2 years ago. Pontiac's got it made. Go get it.
Nobody's got it like Pontiac.
You got it, Pontiac.
Introducing the patented Mark collar from Arrow. Revolutionary, and that's fact. It's the first collar ever shaped to fit the human neck. Until now, men's collars have been cut like a tube. The Mark's ingenious shaping is like a comb. Result, a comfort like you've never experienced before. A new, crisp look with the neckband out of sight. The patented Mark Regular, and now the patented Mark Spread. Only by Arrow.
It would appear, Russ, that Peter Mueller is having more trouble with that lingering on-again, off-again knee situation of his.
I think that's right.
He's had that knee problem for some time, and last week didn't start. Here, it's Metcalf and Zambezi coming in as he's trying to block on number 34, Zach Henderson.
Not avoidable clip.
Caught. That's
unavoidable
exactly
clip
it.
is what it was. He went right back into him at the tail end of that play. There's Zambezi. So effective for Hamilton today. 2nd down and 5. The 43-yard line. Terry Metcalf does not get the first down. Contained at the 40-yard line by Clifton Alapa. Number 42, John Martini, who's been in playing for the injured Ray Nettles. It's going to be 3rd down and about 2.5. Argonauts sending in their kicking team now. Ian Sutter will be attempting a field goal. It'll come from around 47 yards away. Sutter has been having trouble hitting on them the latter part of this season.
Could be aware of a fake field goal anytime in these ball games as well, Don, because it's coming down to that nitty-gritty. His longest has been 47 yards, and that's where he's kicking it from now.
It's offline. Jimmy Edwards in the end zone. Takes his time, then makes his move. Laterally. I don't know what he's doing back there. That's a dangerous situation. He finally gives up the single point. There's no need to kill time with 11:18 to play in the 3rd quarter, and in doing that, he always runs the risk of losing another fumble.
Well, you're right, Don, and the coach must be having, Coach John Payne must be having heart failure on the sideline, wondering what is Jimmy doing.
8-7 now. They're a point apart. Hamilton on top. 11:18 to play in this 3rd quarter, and these lineups being juggled drastically because of injuries in this rather bruising test to determine which team goes on to play the Montreal Alouettes. And that may not be much of a prize when you consider how Montreal played against Ottawa yesterday in a big 26-8 win. 31,005 people here to watch this one. From the Hamilton 40, Jones fires it out left side. A flea flicker that looked to the offside. It's intercepted by the Toronto Argonauts. They finally whistled it down because they were out of bounds. Mike Williams got the ball finally. Somebody gave it to him. Kerry Smith tried the flea flicker, which looked to be offside. He passed ahead. An Argonaut picked it off. We'll figure it out right now.
Wow, this is a new wrinkle, and it was a good play. 1st down pass. Edwards came out of the backfield. If there was a clean flip here to Edwards, he might have gone all the way for a touchdown because no one was expecting it. Edwards didn't get the ball. It bounced off him to Mike Williams, and he stepped out of bounds at about the Hamilton 51-yard line. But if that had been a clean toss to Edwards, I'm sure he would have scored.
All right, the Argonauts win it on a turnover at the 51. Braganola upended at the 49-yard line after 2 yards. Zach Henderson spilled him. We have 10 minutes and 20 seconds left in this third quarter. This has been the kind of football game that you expect to see break open. We saw it twice. Kerry Smith catching 2 passes, 1 called back. But you get the feeling the Argonauts are capable of exploding with a big play. For Harris. Oh, just taken away by Art Thomas. Just kept away. Thomas a little upset about not getting the interception, but he did a great job to knock it down.
That ball was extremely well thrown by Alvin White. He got good protection here, and number 7, Big Harris, came downfield, Mike Harris, and he lofted this ball up trying to overthrow both Shaw and Ike Thomas, but Thomas just did a good job, thought he should have made the interception, and then Harris almost came up with it before it hit the ground.
Thomas with his back almost to the ball to make that play, and so Ken Clark will be in to punt on 3rd down and 8. It's a good one away into the crosswind. 2 yards into the end zone for Jimmy Edwards. He's out. Just out. The Cats will start deep at their own 2-yard line. More Zukowicz and Tim Allen combining for the Toronto tackles. 8-7 for Hamilton early in the third quarter.
Well, this becomes a real test now for this Hamilton offense starting on that 2-yard line.
Tom?
Well, there's Peter Mueller, and I think you hit it right on the nose, Don, when you said it's a recurring problem with that knee injury that he's had time and time again. He got hit on the outside of it, might have banged up some ligaments or cartilage in there. Meantime, it's rattling around, and they put some ice on it to ease any pain. Meantime, if we can find him.
There's Paul.
Bennett is up walking around. He has a cut on his right eyelid. He got hit with the face mask.
Into the end zone, out to Edwards, and that'll be a Toronto safety touch. Well read by the Argonaut defense, and that puts them back into the lead. It was Gordy Knowlton shooting in, wrapping up Jimmy Edwards early. He had him pegged all the way. 2 points Toronto. They go on top 9-8 in a strange football game.
Well, that's 3 safety touches for the Toronto Argonauts this afternoon. 2 of them conceded by Zach Henderson when he was punting out of the end zone, and that one earned by Gordy Knowlton as he played Edwards very well. He was one-on-one outside with one of the real good offensive running backs and made the good solid hit on him. Good call by Jimmy Jones. Back at the 2-yard line, a safe play, throwing it out to Edwards. He's one-on-one on the linebacker. If he beats Knowlton, he might get them out to the 10-yard line where they have a little breathing room. But Knowlton made the solid hit and got the 2 points.
There have only been 6 safety touches in the entire season. The Argonauts have only had 1, and yet they have 3 this afternoon. Mind you, 2 were conceded by the Hamilton Tiger Cats. That one well earned by Gordy Knowlton. 9-8. Argonaut receivers Williams and Metcalf back at the 5 for Neil Lumsden's kickoff. Williams moves up under it. 20-yard line. And upended by the first man to hit him, Zach Henderson, short of the 35. The Argonauts will start from around the 33. An 18-yard return. And that's the price, of course, you pay. It can be a costly price in a close game such as this. The kickoff, having given up 2 points. Trying to recall how many safety touches that Bud Grant's Blue Bombers gave up in that 1965 game. It was 3, so I can't recall any more in one game. 3 this afternoon as well. Metcalf was run down by Jack Blair. Tried to follow the blocking of his pulling guard, Bill Norton, and got it up to around the 39-yard line. That's good for a gain of 5.5. Well, it's all on the line today for John Payne and his counterpart, Bud Riley, the coach of Toronto. The winner goes to Montreal next Saturday. The loser, well, the weather stays warm. Might get some golf in. There's Bud Riley, who's taken over as head coach midway in the season after Leo Cahill was fired. Not certain of his status next year. Reports have him moving on to another job, but he is locked up already. And a mix-up there as White has to hang on to the ball. No gain, maybe a loss of one.
Well, there's that safety blitz again with Ike Thomas coming in there, and the quarterback has already called the play. The center's trying to block, and Thomas is hurt now as he came in on that safety blitz and was in on the tackle of Alvin White. You'll see number 7 coming in there now. Nobody picks him up now. He got hit pretty hard by the offensive guard, and then he had to recover. Bill Norton. And we'll be back with Ike Thomas going off the field here at Iverwood Stadium in just a moment.
CBC Wednesday, a gift to last. A group of Ukrainian immigrants becomes stranded in Tamarack and the town becomes divided.
Really frightening. I've never seen people like that. And one of them touched me.
But where are those people going to sleep tonight?
That's it, that damn running the whole pack of them out of this town. They've got to go.
For everyone, a gift to last. Wednesday at 8 on CBC.
Ike Thomas is limped out. Bowman comes in to replace him. Third down. Argonauts getting set to punt.
That was just a cramp for Ike Thomas. It's okay.
Ken Clark. It's a line drive away. Aykroyd across the 45-yard line. Taken down to the 47. After a 38-yard punt, he brought it back 15 yards. So Hamilton starts out of their 47-yard line, as we'll see this run back again.
Well, Aykroyd takes this low punt, put his head down, almost seemed surprised that he broke through that far. Then they missed him again as he went down. But a good run back, giving Hamilton probably the best field position they've had in this half.
He was taken down to the law of gravity. Harrison has no gain. Stopped by Marty Smith. He's the player the Argonauts kept, letting El Romano go in a somewhat controversial decision made earlier in the week. They must like what Smith has done for them in his limited stay in Toronto. Billy Hardy, number 30, getting set for this next play defensively. We have 6 minutes and 50 seconds in the third quarter. Toronto 9, Hamilton 8. Jones sets, and his receiver, Leif Patterson, dropped the football. Fired a good bullet. Patterson couldn't hang on to it. Jones is 6 for 8, 83 yards today. He really hasn't quarterbacked that badly, except, as we said in the first half, Russ, his play selection. Avoiding the first down pass so consistently, although he's shown more of it in this half.
And you hate to second-guess the quarterback because he might be instructions from the coaching staff to call that type of game, but it appears he has to go to that pass on first down to be successful.
Argos, by the way, have only 1 first down in this half. They had 1 drive in the entire half. They'll have another one right here as Terry Metcalf returns the punt. Hangs onto the ball after quite a battering around the 31-yard line from Henry Waschuk, the Hamilton center.
Don, I have really been surprised that this Toronto team has not put more pressure on Zach Henderson this afternoon, because he still is taking a lot of time to get that punt away. And I would think they would come and say, we're going to get you and we're going to put some pressure on you, because this kicking game could mean something. Terry Metcalf going off the field asking for substitution, so he must have been shaken up a little bit returning that punt.
Yeah, he was walking a little strangely for a while there, trying to straighten it out now. Keep an eye on Terry Metcalf. They send in John Kinch to line up alongside of Mark Braganola. Braganola, number 24, out to the 32, 33-yard line for a couple.
I liked his attitude this week. They tried to get him into a little controversy in the fact that he has not signed his contract this year. He's playing out his option. And he said, I respect the fact that the Argonauts don't want to negotiate during the season. I should be paying attention to what's going on during the football season, not negotiating. And he said, I'll leave that up to my dad when the season's over.
There's Terry Metcalf. Well, Guy Lafleur wouldn't agree with that. A flag is thrown. The ball goes out on one bounce to Mike Harris. Alvin White was looking deep. Everybody was covered, saw Harris, and the penalty marker went down at the same time.
And that's probably in that holding area.
In the holding zone.
And it's not a plane we're talking about.
Blair Shallow, the referee.
Holding against Toronto, number 66, declined. Third down.
Greg Fairchild was called for holding. You heard the referee Blair Shallow say it's been declined by Hamilton, forcing third down and 8.5.
That thing with Terry Metcalf was a cramp in his right calf, and it's been rubbed out.
That's not too serious. Clark getting set to punt. 5 minutes to play in the third quarter. 9-8. Argos lead Hamilton. Big rush on him, and he's taken down. A flag is thrown. Jimmy Edwards might as well save his energy because this is going to come back. Ken Clark, an astute young man, had a wave approaching him and suddenly felt the urge to hit the turf.
Don, I'd like to see this. They've got contacting the kicker that Blair Shallow is called, but I'd like to see this one again just to see whether the
kicker against Toronto. First down, Hamilton.
Whether the contact was really made or whether we had an academy performance from number 13, Mr. Clark.
Let's just say he was not driven to the ground, but I think some contact was made. Let's see it.
Check and see if there is contact here as he kicks the ball. Okay, got it away. Well, there might have been a hand on his shoulder pad. Another low angle look at it, Don. And as they come in, they let up, and he is just touched by number 41, Jack Blair.
So the Argonauts keep the ball. Another flag is thrown as Ray Nettles, who's back in the ball game, and George Wells plug it up for Mark Braganola.
And we got another holding call on this Toronto Argonaut club, but boy, there was contact on that particular play. Nettles is back.
They broke down the Argo blocking, and they're all there to greet Braganola.
Holding against Toronto's number 59, declined, second down.
The setter, Mora Zupkowicz, has been declined, as you heard, so it's second down and about 11. 74 yards for Hamilton, 35 for Toronto in penalties this afternoon. 4.5 minutes remain in this third quarter. 9-8. Toronto in a slender lead. The receiver fell down. Mark McDonald, the pick off by Ben Zambezi. He fumbles the ball. The Argonauts have it back. A bizarre play. Fairchild came up with a recovery.
Well, Alvin White threw this one up for grabs because he had a little bit of pressure on him. Not a great deal as Blair was coming in there. No Hamilton receiver was around this. Number 37, Shaw, picked it off. Zach Henderson almost knocked it off him, and it was Mike Harris who stripped him of the ball as he was carrying it rather loosely, and number 66, Greg Fairchild, fell on it for the Argonauts. So a big turnover both ways. Fairchild, Johnny on the spot to pull that one in, but Shaw carrying it rather loosely when he was running downfield looking for some blocking.
So the Argos get a first down, their 41-yard line. That is picked off by Zach Henderson. Room to go down the sidelines. One man to beat. He's gone. The Ticats bench empties. They're all out there to share in the joy of the touchdown on the interception by Zach Henderson.
Well, Zach Henderson almost knocked that last interception away from Dave Shaw. This time, Alvin White, little fake into the middle here, gets back, gets decent protection, but Henderson just moved in front of the intended receiver, picked it off as he's trying to pick off Willis, and we almost had a clip on number 7, Mike Harris, but Henderson outran him into the end zone. And boy, this Hamilton club and Hamilton crowd are pretty happy right now.
They're giving it to White. Alvin, they're yelling, Alvin.
They got a 5-point lead. Neil Lumsden will endeavor to convert that to a 6-point lead. And he does. The Hamilton Tiger Cats scoring dramatically after a series of turnovers and penalties go into a 15-9 lead.
Again, Alvin White going back with just a little hand fake, not much. Wells gets pretty good pressure on here, but Willis just takes, I should say Zach Henderson just takes the ball away from Willis, and he just runs it into the end zone. And boy, you have dramatic turnovers, 2 interceptions in 2 successive plays, and that's been one of the problems that Alvin White has had with the Toronto Argonauts. He's thrown 11 interceptions in the 3 ball games that he has played. 2 more this afternoon. That's 13. That's a rather unlucky number.
Very. Russ, an unusual turnover decided the last game between these teams here in Hamilton. When Chuck Ely was rolling out, the ball just fell out of his arm, and Hamilton went on to a 19-16 win in the last minute. So anything can happen here. A lot of it has already. Lumsden's
They're telling Lumsden, no, they said to kick it to the left.
Bad leg and all. It's into the end zone by Lumsden to Terry Metcalf. Metcalf finally taken down as he crossed the 20-yard line.
And Don, we've got a flag there, and that's usually clipping, and that could move this Toronto club back even closer to their goal line. There are a couple of flags out there.
It looks like Dave Haddon's been shaken up.
There was 1 flag for holding, too, against Hamilton, I think, Russ.
Blair Shallow will fill us in.
Holding, Toronto number 17. First down, Toronto.
That was Gord Knowlton called for holding on the run back. They'll keep the ball. But the Ticats' concern now is with a member of their specialty team, Dave Haddon.
Don, you have the feeling that this momentum is changing now. Toronto had so many opportunities to score. They moved the ball well, had the good field position. And the first time Hamilton got the good field position, they didn't move it successfully, but Toronto threw those 2 big interceptions as Dave Haddon's helped off the field, actually going off on his own steam. Now Toronto has the bad field position, and Alvin White can't have too much confidence right now after throwing 2 interceptions in a row.
3.5 minutes in the 3rd quarter remaining. 15-9 Hamilton leads. The 8-yard line. First down. Terry Metcalf for a big Argonaut first down. Picks up about 15 yards with that carry. He had a big first game against Hamilton, going for more than 160. This may be his best effort since that time. It's 15-9 Hamilton. 3 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter at Ivor Wynne Stadium.
Hey, when the weatherman says snow, I'm just a fella you should know. I sell the right winter tire for you.
Your Michelin dealer has the tires that'll take you through anything winter's got. If you're looking for mileage on the open road, a solid grip on ice, real digging traction in deep snow, and all this at a price that's a nice surprise, it's Winter Michelin's.
Hey, they don't compromise. I wash you.
The challenge of the unknown. Some men go out of their way to find it. But one thing they won't take a chance on is the way they look. So they use Brill Cream. Brill Cream conditions hair, keeps it looking healthy, natural. Keeps you confident you're looking your best. Brill Cream, for men who'll take a chance on just about anything but the way they look.
With Russ Jackson and Tom McKee, this is Don Chevrier at Ivor Wynne Stadium, where the Tiger Cats lead the Argonauts 15-9. Argos first down at their own 22-yard line. Argonaut upended, lost the ball. The play is whistled dead. They will maintain possession after a gain of perhaps 2. It was George Wells who came in to hit him, and there's Bud Riley, former head coach at Winnipeg. Now the head coach of Toronto.
Argonauts down, huh?
I'll tell you, the winner of this one may have nothing left for the Montreal Alouettes.
Alouettes are saying, yeah, hit each other harder, harder.
As Ottawa will be saying as they watch the semifinal next week.
Well, having been there many times, Tom, no matter how you feel when it comes up to that one effort you have to pull through, they'll be ready next week no matter which of these teams goes into Montreal.
Only one more game, one at a time.
That's right. And we're just glad to be there.
Boy, they're hitting out here today, though.
There's been an alarming string of injuries, really. It's unusual.
Well, we talked about how physical it was going to be, Tom, at the outset of the show. And in a game like this, that's what it boils down to. And Bragagnola is seriously hurt out there as Wells came in and really did a good job at submarining him.
Bring out a couple of recruits to help him off, and we'll remind you that the semifinal in the West is coming up next Sunday. And of course, CBC Television will have it for you between Winnipeg and Calgary from either Winnipeg or Calgary, and that'll be decided a little later on this afternoon. That game is just getting underway out west right now to decide second place.
Dear, Bragagnola favoring his left leg.
Well, he's really favoring that, Tom. He isn't even touching it down on the turf. Bragagnola getting the call on a first down situation, and Wells gets off the block and does just an excellent job of getting his helmet, his shoulder pads right in between the legs at the knee area of Bragagnola, and that's what caused the problem, and he is hurting. You're going to become a doctor down there, Tom, diagnosing all these injuries.
Just what's left over, I could be a doctor.
John Kinch in for him, lines up alongside of Terry Metcalf on 2nd and 8. Then Beasy chasing Alvin White. Look out. That was Bill Palmer who ran the quarterback out of bounds up at the 31-yard line. And he'll miss the first down by a couple.
Bragagnola did have some weight as he got to the dugout area here on that left leg, so they're going to take a closer look at it.
Tom, can you sense any difference in attitude and spirit, if you will, between these two benches?
Yeah, I think so, and I agree with what Russ said earlier, that the flow seems to have gone from the Toronto Argonauts over to the Hamilton Tiger Cats, not just on the scoreboard. Tiger Cats just seem to have somebody step on their tail and wake them up a little bit, and the Argonauts just seem to be a little bit down.
We saw a live Tiger out here at the start of the game, and the Tigers are certainly alive right now. They'll get the ball back on this exchange. Steve Aykroyd straight through again. Reaches midfield before he's turned back by Tom Poe and Eric Harris. 12-yard return by Aykroyd. 11-6, the Argos lead in first downs. I do not believe the Cats have had one in this half, but they've had all the points thanks to their defense. The interception by Zach Henderson, and lead 15-9. We have 2:10 to play until three-quarter time.
Well, the game is basically going the way we expected, with the Hamilton defense being the dominant feature so far, being able to bend a little but not give.
Jimmy Jones. Fakes to Edwards. Unloads deep. Oh, out of the hands of DiPietro. He had him. Rocky couldn't hang on. He may have been distracted by the Argonaut defender putting his arm up and I think missing the ball at the last moment.
Well, a great call. First down, throw the ball. Both DiPietro and Skullroot had run seam patterns. DiPietro is in behind number 14. Again, on the other side, Skullroot was in behind his man as well, and Jimmy just didn't throw the ball far enough. He tried to direct it to DiPietro instead of letting it go out there, and Mike Williams just going up at the last minute just broke his concentration or touched it a little bit, but both DiPietro and Skullroot were wide open.
So it's second down. Jones getting set to unload again. Over the middle, oh, almost picked off. Billy Hardy feels he should have had the interception. It'll go to 3rd and 10.
Jimmy throwing into a crowd there, and Hardy could have come up with a big play for the Toronto Argonauts in that particular occasion. I thought Jimmy might have run for the first down there. He came up into the pocket. All the linebackers had gone to the sidelines, and there was a lot of room to get that 10 yards.
You know, you can go to the well too often, Russ, but I'd be inclined to throw deep more frequently against the Argos than Hamilton has.
Especially on first down.
That's right. It's all so easy from up here, isn't it?
Oh, boy.
That seemed to be the thing to do early in this football game, though, didn't it?
Yes.
No rush on him again. They give him time to step up and get it away. It's a bad bounce.
Where is he? Where is he?
He's coming. Argonauts come up with it in time. Hardy is taken down. Henderson almost getting there in time. Made the tackle on him. The Argonauts will keep the ball. Their own 28-yard line. 29-yarder. That's all Henderson got off with that negative bounce.
Well, I still am amazed that that Toronto team is not putting some pressure on that punter as we see the minute flag to the end of this third quarter, which has been a long quarter with all the injuries we've had.
Injuries, penalties, turnovers, and a 15-9 score favoring Hamilton. 55 seconds left in the quarter. White only 5 for 14. Barely a third of his completions out of attempts. He's overthrown Mark McDonald by 5 yards. Double coverage. McDonald says, where was that supposed to go? Randy Graham and Ron Meeks both back there. Like Thomas it was.
Good protection. Good protection for Alvin White. Mike Harris had run it out at about 15 yards to the sideline, and Mark McDonald had gone deep, but I'm sure Alvin White threw that one away. He knew there was no way he was going to complete that pass. Harris was covered into the sideline, and as you mentioned, Don, double coverage down deep and just let it get out there over top of everybody.
It shows you the arm that Alvin White has into that wind. The ball went a long way.
As they always say, how many did you complete?
Yeah, what color did you throw at, Alvin?
That's tipped. Oh, Meeks had a chance. I'll tell you, it's interception alley out there.
I tell you, Alvin, you can see why he's thrown those interceptions now. He's thrown the last 4 passes now where it's been very questionable as to who he is throwing them to and whether he really knows what the receiver is going to do. 2 of them have been picked off, and that one could have been a third one.
Had the Argonauts sustained that drive for 17 seconds, Ken Clark re-putting with the wind, but he's pretty strong into it. Terry Metcalf at the Argonaut bench. This could be the final play of quarter 3. Gets it out to Steve Ackroyd. He'll test the middle again. This time he's got company out there. Doug Riddell and Craig Thompson there to take him down, and that's the end of the third quarter with the score. Hamilton Tiger Cats 15 and the Toronto Argonauts 9.
In ancient times, people worshipped winged gods, symbols of freedom and strength. But today, every man has wings to fly to Persepolis and other legendary lands of the Middle East, or anywhere else in the world, on a Boeing 747. The world's favorite way to fly.
Darling, don't let her win.
These are Gilly's greatest.
I overlooked an orchid while searching for a rose.
This album has got it all, including the song that started it all.
And the girls all get prettier at closing time.
His super hit
Honky Tonk Memory.
Thank you for making this album possible, and I hope you enjoy it.
from the Winner's Circle, the best of Mickey Gilly's 20 original hits, available wherever fine records are sold.
A disconsolate Mark Bragagnolo in the dugout of the Toronto Argonauts. Possible torn knee ligaments in his left leg. 15 minutes left in the 1978 season for one of these clubs.
Hamilton starting out. A first down play to Jimmy Edwards is denied around the 45-yard line. A gain of perhaps 2. 15-9. The Cats carry a 6-point lead in, and no, that's not Metcalf. Number 51, Marty Smith, very slow getting up. You see a 1 out there. Of course, the Argonauts are on defense, but you think of Metcalf, who left earlier with a calf injury, and Marty Smith playing his second game for the Argonauts, limping out there noticeably, but staying in. Argonauts had the ball considerably more than Hamilton in that third quarter. Jimmy Jones has company. Burley finally put him down after they Argonaut wave of defenders coming at him, away back at the 35-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down and 18.
Well, neither club has been very successful at picking up the blitzing linebackers or the safety blitz. That time, Brad Cousineau, number 44, and Tom Poe, number 75, just came on, put the pressure on Jimmy Jones, and nobody was there to help.
There's Roy Henry doing some charting. He's the backup quarterback for Hamilton. And Wayne Allison back with the Argonauts. Marty Smith is down this time. He will come out of the game. He really stayed in the last play, whereas he shouldn't have. Both these teams are going to have to, have been juggling around for much of this half, certainly because of injuries. John Faubert would be the likely candidate to come in and replace Marty Smith, the Canadian. Rodney Allison, the backup quarterback for the Argos.
Funny you should mention that, Don, because the fans right behind the Argo bench are hollering for Rodney right now. I don't know whether Toronto fans or Hamilton fans.
Rodney has been put in some dire circumstances, really hasn't been given that much opportunity this year, and has to feel a little bit unsure of his position for next year. But Don, we talk about the injuries, and one of the things that happens this time of the year, a lot of these guys are playing with small injuries already, and they do get aggravated in a game such as this.
They compound themselves. 3rd down, Zach Henderson. Here comes a bit of a charge on him, but he gets that away. In place of Paul Bennett, Allison's back there, but Mike Williams fields it, and Williams is hit hard by Henry Waschuk at the 37-yard line. A 40-yard punt. Waschuk a bit slow himself in getting up after that contact. We have 13.5 minutes left. 15-9 Tiger Cats.
Just a further comment on that injury situation, a guy like Peter Mueller, as an example, didn't play last week. He's playing and he's hurting, and when he does get hit in these situations, naturally it's going to hurt and he's going to go down for some time, and he's back in again, and if he gets hit again hard, he'll have to go out again.
Metcalf, good lead block thrown by John Kinch. Metcalf reaches the 44-yard line. It's going to give him a gain of 7. Ike Thomas made the Hamilton stop. Metcalf is approaching the 100-yard mark today with 93 so far. Undoubtedly his best day since the first day, ironically, against Hamilton way back in July.
I don't think he's had a 100-yard game since that game, as far as his rushing is concerned.
Came in here with 574 yards. Rodney Allison now, number 12, into quarterback the Argos.
They got their wish, didn't they?
And takes too long to get it away. That'll cost them 5.
Against Toronto, 2nd down repeated.
Back to the 39-yard line for a 2nd down play. So they now have 8 yards to go. Hamilton strong defensively with sacks. Toronto with Hamilton coming up with big interceptions. Quick pop is picked off. Shoestring style by Ben Zambezi. The 15-yard line. He'll go for the score. Zambezi takes it in 43 yards.
Don, you've been talking about this guy all afternoon, and you couldn't make a better interception here. He just reached out, picked that off, and the question was, did it touch the ground when he went down with it? But he took it in, and nobody was going to deny him the end zone. Rodney Allison, number 12, was the last one who had a chance to stop him. But I'm sure if he got in Zambezi's way, he'd be up in the cheap seats in the end zone.
It did touch the ground, but he had firm possession of it.
But if it touches the ground, it's down.
Oh, it touched it all right.
But I tell you, the way he's played, he deserves that touchdown. I won't argue with it.
Neil Lumsden will attempt to convert it. There it is. Hamilton, the defense taking over with big interception returns for touchdowns into a 22-9 lead over the Toronto Argonauts, whose season now may only have 12 minutes and 26 seconds left.
Ever get the urge to just let your imagination run wild? Open up your life with a GMC truck. Get out there and really do it. Like a GMC van that you can make into your own private world. A pickup maybe. Or for riding the high country, a Jimmy with 4-wheel drive. And if pulling power is what you're after, try hitching up to a GMC Suburban. GMC. Trucking's what we're all about.
Atwood, Ontario, where Shell did a study on home heat. Different types of homes, a variety of heating problems that insulation alone couldn't solve, like improper heat distribution, furnaces that needed servicing, and faulty caulking around windows. The result, the Shell Home Heat Book. It's full of tips on how you can keep your home comfortable and cut down on heating costs. One in a series of helpful books, free, from Shell. Shell helps.
Hamilton Tiger Cats are alive and well here at Ivor Wynne Stadium with 12:26 to play and a 22-9 lead. Lumsden's kickoff. Deep. Goal line to Mike Williams, the next Tiger Cat. Williams thrown out of bounds by Zach Henderson up at the 17-yard line. So Toronto will start deep. Henderson and Zambezi with the interception returns for touchdowns. They have turned this game right around. Rodney Allison will again be the Argonaut quarterback, number 12. They have lost Bragadola from their lineup. John Kinch, the running back alongside of Terry Metcalf, heading for a 100-yard day. Quick pop. Metcalf tried to one-hand that ball and couldn't gather it in. Zambezi and Metcalf tangling out there. Some words exchanged. Metcalf's had a tough year, but he'll be back, he says, in 1979.
Allison trying to hit Metcalf. Metcalf showing a little of the frustration here now as he comes back and does a little step dance on Zambezi, saying, let go of my arm. I want to take it home with me, not you take it with you.
He's got a 7-year contract, a lucrative one.
If he does that too often to guys like Zambezi, he might not be here for 7 years.
Well, I'll tell you, he'll be paid for 7 years no matter what. Allison with time has Mueller open, fine catch. Sideline, 35-yard line, first down, Toronto. A gain of 18 yards.
Not too much of a pass rush this time by the Hamilton defensive line. 3-man rush. Allison stayed right in there, waited for Mueller to get in behind the linebacker, just laid it out over the linebacker, and Peter did the tightrope walking in front of Meeks to make the first down.
Argos have had 28 offensive plays this half against 15 for Hamilton, but it isn't the offensive plays that have scored the points. It's the defensive play by the Tiger Cats secondary.
It's the big D.
Way out there, Harris in the area, but the ball nowhere near him, really.
I'll tell you, if Allison keeps laying that ball up like that, where he's floating it out there trying to throw over top of linebackers, one of those deep backs is going to come out and pick one of those off.
Well, Bud Riley getting desperate now, looking for some sort of inspiration at quarterback from Rodney Allison, but he's having trouble getting the job done, as Alvin White did before him.
The question is, Don, who is making the decisions on these quarterbacks? Because it appeared with all the discussion, read the coaching staff, that Bud Riley has basically abdicated the offense to Tom Dimitroff and Chuck Dickerson, and he's gone on the defense with Dal Wright. So maybe it's Dimitroff and Dickerson making these changes.
Too far for Harris. I'll tell you, Allison just isn't getting this job done. He had time to throw that one. Plenty of time. Good pass blocking for him.
He's not throwing a ball with any authority. He's floating it up there. Nice spiral, but it really isn't with authority. Split replay here now. Watch the delivery on your left. It's almost like he's chugging the ball out there instead of a good delivery from the shoulder. He's sort of throwing it from the elbow, and just can't do that.
So it's 3rd down and 10. Ken Clark in to punt.
And time marches on for this Toronto club.
10 minutes and 49 seconds left. They trail 22-9. Heading for the sidelines, staying in play for Jimmy Edwards. Will go out right there near the 40-yard line. This fella expecting rain.
That was for the sun earlier, I think.
Oh.
That's pretty difficult to figure out who he's cheering for. He's got that blue and white one out there right behind that Tiger Cat hat. It looks like maybe the umbrella's been torn apart.
Well, it wasn't the umbrella that told me, it was the long face. Argonaut fans certainly down in the dumps right now as the fortunes of their team are fast fading. 22-9 they trail. Hamilton first down. Tom Poe there to wrap up that first down carry by Jimmy Edwards. Throw him for a loss back around the 36-37 yard line. Edwards outdistanced today by Terry Metcalf.
Now the Argonauts pulling out all the stops there. First down situation, the safety blitz was on. Poe was coming, keying on Edwards, and that was it. Poe is keying on Edwards with the safety blitz, and he just going where he goes, and there's no contest when you get a guy that big heading up.
It's second down and 13. Jones all over this field. Wide open is Kerry Smith. Regaining his balance at the 40-yard line, out of bounds at the Argonaut 34. And a flag has been thrown way back downfield.
Well, that might have been thrown on McIver 42, but I think what McIver is questioning, did he cross the line of scrimmage when he ran out to the right-hand side?
That's what I wondered, because he went up and down and all over.
The ball started on the 37-yard line, so maybe we can figure out where he was when he ran out here. He came a long way downfield. Like right there's the 35 on there. I don't know how far downfield he really was, but he was awfully close.
Well, they have disqualified the Argonauts number 42, Doug McIver.
Well, I guess he had something to say a couple of times about that, and I'm sure he was debating the fact whether Jimmy Jones had crossed the line of scrimmage, and he gave him an unsportsmanlike conduct first and marched off quite a few yards. Now the question is, are there more yards to be marched off for his disqualification? And that's the second Argonaut player to be put out of the game this afternoon. The first one being number 63, Tom Davis, for taking a punch at number 7, Ike Thomas.
In Calgary, the Stampeders lead the Blue Bombers 2-0 in the first quarter. The winner of that game gets home field for next week's Western semifinal, which will be the third consecutive meeting of these two teams. With the disqualification, the ball comes all the way down to the 15-yard line of the Toronto Argonauts.
Don, that play actually covered 58 yards with the pass play and the 2 penalties, starting on the 37-yard line and now on the 15-yard line of the Toronto Argonauts. So a big play, and again, one of those questionable things that Doug McIver, all pent up out there with emotion, started to argue with the official, and you can't win those arguments.
This could give the Hamilton Tiger Cats the cap to go to the semifinal. This drive right here. Jimmy Edwards will throw off it into the end zone. Patterson! Oh, he couldn't hang on. Patterson, who had the ball out in front of him, extended to touch it and almost brought it in. I tell you, that was a good first down call by the Cats right there. It almost paid off for them.
Well, Metcalf completed a pass to Mike Harris on the same play, and a little wrinkle in here with Edwards going out, and Pedersen ran right by the defensive secondary, almost made the great catch in the end zone, but couldn't quite pull it in as he ran by Wayne Allison, number 19.
Second down, and DiPietro can't bring that one down. Heavy coverage against him from Wayne Allison down there, along with Williams, and it's going to be third down, Hamilton. So it goes to third down. Jones a little better than 50% in a limited passing game today for Hamilton. This could give the Hamilton Tiger Cats A 16-point lead if Lumsden can come through from the 22.
This is important because it gives them that 2-touchdown lead, even if they make 2-point conversions with just over 8 minutes remaining.
Here it is, the big charge. He is wide. But it is going to go out of bounds, out of the end zone for a single point. And now the Tiger Cats have got exactly a 2-converted touchdown lead. The measure of 14 points on top by 23-9. We have 8 minutes and 19 seconds left.
And this Hamilton club has shown some new wrinkles this afternoon. They've tried to throw deep against the Toronto Argonauts. They tried the flea flicker. We've almost forgotten about that one that was fumbled and Williams came up with. And then the halfback pass, and they are in control now with only slightly over 8 minutes remaining in this ballgame.
Argos going from the 35-yard line. Some confusion out there as they call players in from the sideline to get 12 for this offensive series. And it took them too long. Of course, they just got to the ball and their allotted time was up. So again, confusion hurting the Argonauts at this late stage, this late in the season. The 1st and 15 now, back at the 30-yard line. Alvin White has come back in, of course, to replace Rodney Allison, who took the Argonauts nowhere in his brief appearance. Metcalf, here's that option again against the grain. Look out, White just jumped out of the way. Blair was coming at him. Dave Shaw in the area, and that play misfired.
I'm sure that play came in with Tom Dimitrov. That's an old Ottawa play. That's a throwback to the quarterback where they give it to the halfback on a sweep, hoping to get everything going that way and try and get that ball back to the quarterback. That was well defensed. At this stage of the ball game, it's pretty tough to work something like that because the Hamilton defense, with the lead they do have now, are just saying, hey, we're not going to give anything away quickly. Just play your own position and we'll all do our job.
White has Harris, but he hits down, losing his balance short of a first down. He's going to be 3 yards away from it.
This is a situation we see on split ISO where Mike Harris is running an out pattern. He has the out pattern well run, but he doesn't go downfield far enough to get the first down. He's wide open. The quarterback, Alvin White, didn't bring him back that far. He should throw the ball like that, but Harris should have gone down the field maybe 12 yards and come back for the 11. Just not concentrating on where you have to go to get that first down.
Clock ticks down to 7 minutes and 15 seconds. 23-9 for Hamilton. Ken Clark. Aykroyd, the 20-yard line. And he is wrapped up early. Doug Riddle, number 68, with the tackle. So the Cats starting inside their own 25-yard line. Just over 7 minutes to go, and they lead by 14 points.
I may have a bar in my office, but Lawson has a Sony.
Darn. I thought they were going to give me a Sony.
Most people feel very special about Sony Trinitron color TVs, probably because Sony Trinitron color TVs are very special. You see, it's not just a TV, it's a Sony.
Dad, I have a date coming over tonight. Can I borrow the Sony?
Hamilton Tiger Cats from their own 23-yard line. John Payne pacing. Bud Riley anxious as Jimmy Edwards goes out of bounds. Hit by Wayne Allison up at the 35-yard line. That should be enough for a first down. It is. The Cats now will try to exercise some ball control, kill the time remaining, which at present is 6:54, with their 23-9 lead. A crowd of over 30,000 here enjoying what they're seeing, apart from the commuters from Toronto in the audience.
Now, this is an Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds we're seeing here at Civic Stadium, but certainly on your screen a few times as Harrison's carrying the ball, you'll see a lot of seagulls circling around this field.
You sure they aren't buzzards?
Vultures for the Argos, yes.
We have a flag down on that last play, Don.
They just walked in off Toronto, Hamilton Bay.
against Hamilton's number 77. First down repeated.
Laurie Skalrud is number 77 for Hamilton. Takes it back to the 20. The Cats will be first down and 25 yards to go now. Toronto is 14 points down. Edwards, open field. They finally run him down. Area of the 38-yard line. It's Paul Bennett and John Faubert tracking him down for Toronto. Just over 6 minutes left now.
Don, there's a lot of chippiness going on out on that field right now, and I just hope the officials keep control of it and that there's no hard feelings taken out there. Twice out there now, 2 separate incidents on that play. People were kicking at each other and shoving at each other, and I just hope the play doesn't deteriorate to that point at this stage of the ball game.
But Edwards and Faubert, that's a David and Goliath thing.
A little too one-sided, that matchup.
Of course, Edwards was on top.
So was David. Is Harrison. Finally, they whistle it down. He got away from the last tackler, but his knee touched down after contact around the 40-yard line.
Well, for the first time this afternoon, the Hamilton Tiger Cats picked up the safety blitz. Wayne Allison really got dumped by Jimmy Edwards. There was no one back in the middle of the defensive secondary, and Harrison did go down on the one knee as he was tackled, and a good call by the officials, but it's being all called back. We have a rough play call against Hamilton.
Against Jimmy Edwards. On Allison. Erasing a 32-yard advance.
He made the good hit, as you saw on the block, but it was after that he went after Allison later and give him a shot with the elbow, and that's what the referee Blair Shallow called. But they did pick up the blitz really well, and he did an exceptionally fine job, Jimmy Edwards, at picking up Allison.
That's the chippiness you alluded to a few moments ago. Jones going long, nobody near the ball. They're throwing Leif Pettersson, Kerry Smith. It's going to be third down Hamilton, so the Argonauts are about to get the ball back. Just over 5 minutes available to them to do something with it. Here's a score from Calgary. This game out west starting much like the one here in terms of early scoring, 2-1 for Calgary. After a quarter. Here it is 23-9. Hamilton leading Toronto. See how they charge Henderson. It'd be a good spot here deep in the Hamilton zone to do it. Oh, he moved too soon. They're offside. They were anxious to give him a run. Too anxious.
It's going to be interesting to see how this call goes because Toronto jumped. The ball was not snapped, and Martini, number 42, jumped as well on the offense. The defense can jump and get back as long as they don't make contact.
Now we'll find out in a moment from Blair Shallow after he explains it, what it is.
Offside, Toronto, third down.
It is Toronto. They move up 5 yards.
Little anxious out there. Comet Burley, who's had a fine afternoon, especially the first half, just getting a little over anxious.
They contain the charge on Henderson. He gets a good one away. Down to Williams. Williams spinning to the 47-yard line. Dave Haddon brought him down. Argonauts have lost their premier punt return man, Paul Bennett, earlier with an injury near the eye. 4.5 minutes. That's all that may be left in the Argo season. Jimmy Edwards there at the Hamilton bench looking pretty satisfied, as many of the Cats are right now. Argonauts appear to be a somewhat disorganized and extremely dispirited football team at the moment. Alvin White is the quarterback. And Bill Palmer has him all wrapped up.
Don, they are dispirited because on those particular pass patterns, 4 receivers went downfield as Alvin White went back to throw that ball. Not one of them ran their pattern very hard. And White gets back there. He's looking downfield, and the guys are only 10 yards downfield. He has nothing to do but scramble. But nobody is running the pattern hard. They're just sort of loafing down the field now saying, hey, I'm not going to get hurt at this stage of the game, and leaving the poor quarterback to get the heck knocked out of him.
There's Palmer. He put him in the sack. This is 2nd down. Again, no Argonaut receiver in the immediate area. Willis and McDonald were downfield. The ball going in between them. It appears the Argonauts are not about to make a run on Hamilton late in this game.
And this is the thing that you look for at this stage. When they were down that time, Palmer, number 78, down for Hamilton. But as you mentioned, Don, with about 7 minutes to go, they still had some spark left, and you thought, hey, this is when we're really going to pull out all stops, but they've gone downhill from then rather than get that spark. I think it's indicative of what has happened and what mental pressures they've been through all year.
And, of course, the early move for the exits is underway in Hamilton now with 3:54 remaining.
And with the Hall of Fame dinner, Gordon Olton sitting on his helmet with the Hall of Fame dinner here in Hamilton tonight, there will be a rather raucous crowd at that event.
That has never been a happy occasion for Toronto representatives. It always seems to follow a day such as this when the Cats beat the Argos to make the playoffs.
You buy a table as the Toronto Argonauts, it's either full or empty.
It's been empty much of the time. Ken Clark, another fine punt away. 18-yard line. Aykroyd to the 25. 3.5 minutes remaining as the Cats go back to work with what we expect will be a conservative offense in an attempt to kill the clock. It's a 51-yard punt by Ken Clark that time. Reminder again that next week we'll have the Western semifinal for you on Sunday. And in 2 weeks' time, from Ottawa, the Eastern final on CBC. Of course, the Grey Cup 3 weeks from today. Edwards getting out. Right side where Brad Cousineau met him. And he picks up around 8 yards. So we have just over 3 minutes, 3:15 to be exact. The Tiger Cats lead the Argonauts by a score of 23-9 and appear headed for Montreal next week.
When you got it, you know it. When you got it, you show it. When you got it, you simply say, this is the way it's gonna be.
If you think you've got to trade off the kick you used to get out of driving for the comfort of your family, you've got it wrong. Because you can do right by them and still put yourself in a Pontiac, like the 1979 Parisienne, mid-size Le Mans, or the compact Phoenix. If you're going to get it right. After all, when it comes to cars, you know who's got it, don't you?
Nobody's got it like Pontiac's got it. Nobody's got it like Pontiac's got it. Nobody's got it like nobody's got it like Pontiac.
You got it, Pontiac.
Time fast running out on this group you're looking at right now. The Toronto Argonaut football team with 4 wins, needing a 5th today to get to the playoffs. They're down by 14 points. Edwards, nowhere to go. Comet Burley was there. On with John Faubert, number 56, to wrap him up. We have 3 minutes and 5 seconds left. The game takes him up to the 29-yard line. It's 3rd down. Henderson will punt the ball to the Argos.
And I would assume this Argonaut defense would be coming after this ball.
They'd better. They're running out of time and opportunities.
Not really.
Not much of a charge. Bouncing back to Williams, the 37-yard line. And he's taken down around the 46 on Meeks and Jack Blair there. 9-yard return of a 42-yard punt.
On that chippiness we talked about earlier in a series of about 3 plays has disappeared, and actually on that particular play, Jim Marshall put a good hit on Martini blocking for the punt return, and when they get up they sort of patted each other on the back. Williams coming up here now, and number 15 will come in here and make the good hit on Martini. Good solid block. When they got up they patted each other on the back and said good job by both of us, and that's great to see at this stage.
Alvin White to Slade Willis. He will have a first down. Gets bumped down at the Hamilton 50-yard line by Zach Henderson. It's 2 minutes and 33 seconds remaining. Hamilton leading by 2 converted touchdowns at 23-9. That is Willis again, getting loose down the sidelines in front of the Hamilton bench. Another first down at the 33-yard line. Argos obviously need a quick touchdown if they're to retain any hope at all of coming back. That was a 17-yard gain.
Well, the Hamilton team doesn't want to get too sloppy here. If they give up a quick one, we'll have 2 minutes left, and you can expect a short kickoff, and anything can happen with situations like that. They want to keep putting the pressure on this Toronto offense instead of letting them get any momentum going.
White to Willis the 3rd straight time, and he was hit right away and denied the first down by Meeks and Zambezi. Argonauts not bothering with a huddle now, just heading right over the ball.
Well, in isolation, Willis going down and making the catch. As he goes up forward, he gets the good contact by number 17, Ron Meeks. And it's going to bring up a 2nd and 2.
For Peter Mueller, it is knocked away. Good coverage by Henderson. He also, along with Zambezi, has played a standout game. They have each scored a touchdown on interceptions.
John, I think the other part of it, too, the pressure was on Henderson being the punter for this Hamilton club. They did partially block one early. Comet Burley got to him. It had to upset him a bit, but again, as I mentioned throughout the ball game, I was surprised that Toronto didn't continue to come and put pressure on him. They've taken the pressure off him a little bit on the punting by not rushing him that much.
They certainly have not been opportunists today, and not really alert to notice such tendencies that might benefit them. Now they'll settle for the first down the conventional way, and they get it. John Kinch hits down near the 20-yard line, but the clock now shows 2 minutes and 1 second. Again, they go without benefit of a huddle. White puts it up. Nobody there.
It points up the lack of communication between Alvin White and his offensive receivers, because quite a few times this afternoon they have just not been able to connect as to where the receiver is going to be. That time Mark McDonald, who's new to this club this afternoon, certainly was not in the right position that Alvin thought he should be.
Wooddown made his cut to the sidelines. The ball sailed to the end zone.
This is what we talked about, how they're not running these patterns. You see 2 guys going downfield here who maybe aren't prime receivers but might become those prime receivers, just dogging it down the field.
Wide open is Slade Willis, the 10-yard line. That's what he'll have, and be close to a first down. A minute 45 left. The Argos are moving. Hamilton watching for the deep pass, hanging back, but it's taking a long time for the Argos to reach the end zone.
It is a first down. There's a guy I played against quite a bit, Ron Atchison. Played for those tough Saskatchewan Rough Riders for 17 years.
A great one being honored tonight, along with Kayvon. Paul Dojak into the end zone, touchdown. Randy Graham beaten by Mike Harris. It now is 23-15.
Now Mike Harris running the out pattern on Randy Graham, number 14 in the end zone, and Alvin White getting the protection, put it out there, and Harris, as big as he is, doesn't give Graham any opportunity to get near that ball. And with a minute and 35 seconds left, we know what's coming up after this convert attempt.
Well, they're going to go for one. I was wondering if they try for two here. If they get a second touchdown, or they go for it then. They're taking 1 point right now. And it's good by Ian Sutter to make it 23-16. We've got 1:35 left. Bear in mind that a tie will do the Argonauts no good whatsoever. They must win the ball game.
Well, I think it was good to take the one there, and if you do score the other touchdown, then take the two. One will not do anything for you, and try for the two in the win.
We've had some dramatic finishes here in Hamilton over the years. Wouldn't that be something? And they go for 2 points. Terry Metcalf. It's had a tough afternoon, but a very productive afternoon for the Toronto Argonauts. Sitting alone with his thoughts at the Argonaut bench.
Safe to say that on this kickoff, I doubt very much if it'll go deep into the end zone. I'm being facetious, of course.
Tom, I wouldn't stand where you are right now because you may be receiving some players in your lap.
That's true. I think I'll just mosey on down a little bit.
Give him at least 20 yards.
We would hate to lose you this late in the afternoon.
Or season. Got to get to the playoffs, eh?
Now you're there anyway.
Unless he's alert on this play, isn't?
See what Sutter does here. Moves it over a little bit. It'll be coming this way.
Well, it's a last desperate attempt by the Argonauts. The whole stadium knows what's going to happen here. They will huddle again. They'll have a second meeting about this.
We got DiPietro over here. Thomas is here. Patterson's here.
Who of the Argonauts? Is Mike Harris over that way? He's the big one.
All right, ready to go. Ian Sutter, line drive. It goes 10 yards, but into the arms of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Leif Patterson.
Just like playing second base for the New York Yankees.
The trick, of course, is, as Jerry Organ showed us over the years, hey, this year in Ottawa is to get the ball in the air. He didn't do it.
Center just squibbed this ball along here now, and it has to go 10 yards. Gone 8, 9, actually just the 10 yards. And Leif Patterson is there to field it along with DiPietro before the Argonauts can get there. If you don't loft it up in the air, Don, it's pretty difficult for those offensive people, the Toronto Argonauts in this occasion, to get that 10 yards before the ball gets there.
From center field, Jimmy Edwards being chased by Billy Hardy and run out of bounds finally.
That's not a good play by Jimmy Edwards, running the ball out of bounds, because he stops the clock. You want to run that ball to the wide side of the field, keep the clock running, and take at least a minute for the 3 plays.
It's a good play for Jimmy Edwards' body, though, with 3 big guys chasing him.
That's true.
1:11 left now. Edwards, 77 yards today. His counterpart of the Argonauts, Metcalf, is 93. Edwards has the Eastern rushing title all locked up. Jimmy Jones.
Stay in bounds,
sidelines. And out. That'll stop the clock. And the gain is to the 50-yard line, so he'll be 5 yards short of the first down.
Well, and that surprises me, because 2 calls there now were not designed as they should be, because there was 1 minute and 22 seconds remaining when Hamilton got that ball, and they should be at least able to run out a full minute of that in 2 plays with the clock stopped now until the ball is punted. They've only run 20 seconds off the clock, and they could have actually salted the ball game away, kicking with maybe a few seconds to go, even if they didn't make a first down. And I'm sure John Payne is telling them on the sideline, what are you doing to me?
As it is, they've given the Argonauts the better part of a minute. It's not a lot of time, but it's something to work with. Henderson, his 11th kick today.
And they definitely will be coming, I would think. No,
not successfully. Down to the 10-yard line for Mike Williams. Back tracking, waiting for some blocking.
Uh-oh.
He'll take it out of bounds. That's a good move for the Argonauts, who want to kill the clock. Up around the 17-yard line with 44 seconds remaining. Dave Hatton pursuing him. It is 23-16, a 7-point spread for Hamilton. The Argonauts will have one final shot at it here. The odds are certainly long against them, with the Cats going back into a protect defense. Gets it way up there at center field, and it is knocked down, nearly intercepted by Dave Shaw. Calgary out west is now leading Winnipeg Blue Bombers by a 9-4 score, and that key game to decide second place.
And that's still in the first half, I would think, out there, Don, but that's probably going to go right to the wire. That's going to be some battle, and they've got each other again next week, no matter who wins this afternoon. It's just a matter of where are they playing. Ray Nettles on the sideline with Coach Payne. All the signals going off from the bench. Don't get beat deep like Toronto did late in the first half.
Second down. Short toss to Peter Mueller. Does not have the first down at the 26-yard line. He is 2 away.
And fittingly, Zambezi, number 47, making the stop on him.
He has to be Hamilton's player of this game. No question of it. Argonauts need 2 yards to keep it going. Shotgun formation. Way back is Alvin White. Unloads long downfield. Ken Clark makes the catch. Clark at the 25-yard line. The 20 still going. The 5. Clark out of bounds. Argos have a chance with 13 seconds left. Do you believe it? The coverage was tight. How Clark got the ball, Ross, I'm not sure.
Well, we've got 13 seconds to go, and even if they do score, they're going to have to come up with a 2-point conversion win. But Alvin White threw another dunk up there. He tried to throw it a million miles, but didn't get it. Number 7, Ike Thomas, went up and thought he was going to tip it away, and Meeks missed the tackle on Clark, number 13. The most unlikely guy you think is going to make the big catch for the Toronto Argonauts. And here are the Toronto Argonauts with 13 seconds remaining, and time stopped. Are on the 6-yard line. On isolation, we'll see number 7, Ike Thomas, go up, try and make the stop, and then alone, Meeks can't make the hit on him, and we have quite a finish coming up here.
A lap is down for Hamilton, getting attention out there at the 5-yard line. As you say, the last man you'd expect to get the ball was Ken Clark, who doesn't like the role of a receiver to begin with, and had he more room, he would have gone to the end zone because Metcalf gave a block, but he was out of room there on the short side after an 80-yard gain for Toronto.
Don, the question is here, is this injury to a lap helping the Tiger Cats regroup and be able to talk to each other, or the Argonauts to set up a big play? But to set the scene, as you all know, a tie is no good for the Toronto Argonauts. If they do score the touchdown, they must follow it up with a 2-point conversion in order to win the ball game.
Remember a similar situation last year in the playoff in Ottawa? They were at the 5-yard line, and Chuck Ely fumbled the ball, and that cost them their playoff opportunity. Right here, they hope to avoid that and go in for a score. Let's see the play they call. The halfback option from Metcalf has worked. Metcalf running wide, or will it be a pass to one of the receivers in the end zone? Knocked away by John Martini. 9 seconds remaining.
Don, I have to go back to the situation where Hamilton had the ball about midfield with 1 minute and 22 seconds to go, and they only ran 20 seconds off the clock when Jimmy Edwards ran out of bounds, Jimmy Jones ran out of bounds, and they gave the ball to this Toronto team with about 1 minute and 2 seconds remaining.
Ken Clark here coming in with a play from the bench.
He's wide left, second down, 9 seconds remaining. Alvin White just threw it away, and they call him for it. A penalty flag went down, intentionally grounding the ball. There was no question of it. He threw with his left hand. 3 seconds remaining.
No question, and he's not arguing the situation. It doesn't matter. They're still going to have to go 3rd down situation and score a touchdown. It's as simple as that. Just means they have to go a little further.
There's the call, intentionally grounding the ball, takes them back 10 yards to the 15-yard line. 3 seconds left. 1 3rd down play remaining to decide, perhaps, the playoff opponent for the Montreal Alouettes next week.
But it still doesn't decide it. Toronto needs 2 successful plays into the end zone.
I said perhaps. Alvin White. No good. Hamilton, as time runs out, holds heads off the Argonauts and goes on to the Eastern semifinal against the Montreal Alouettes. The game is over, and that final score is Hamilton 23 and the Toronto Argonauts 16.
Make it happy times and smiling faces, holding hands in favorite places. Make it Buick. After all, life is to enjoy.
The new 1979 Buick Regal. Good-looking, smooth riding, Buick comfortable, luxurious. V6 powered, turbocharged V6 in the Regal Sport Coupe.
After all, life is to enjoy.
There's really nothing quite like a Buick.
What should you do? You love that older car of yours, but it runs on premium leaded gasoline, which is not so easy to find these days. Relax and come on over to new Shell Super Non-Leaded. It's blended especially to give smooth running, high-octane performance without lead. And with no more lead deposits, your muffler, tailpipe, and spark plugs will last longer. New Shell Super Non-Leaded.
Monday night, Mary O'Hara talks with Roy Bonesteel on Man Alive.
The lamp is burning low upon my tabletop.
I'm Roy Bonesteel for Man Alive. Join me in Wiltshire, England for the remarkable singing and even more remarkable spirit of Mary O'Hara.
Celebrated Irish singer Mary O'Hara on Man Alive, Monday at 10:30 on CBC.
And so once again, the Toronto Argonauts fall to defeat at the hands of the Hamilton Tiger Cats in the final game of the season. This time, it was 23-16. Hamilton on to meet Montreal. CBC Sports will be with you next Sunday in the Western semifinal, and the final game coming up 2 weeks from today in Ottawa. We'll be with you at that time. I'm Tom McKee for Don Chevrolet. Russ Jackson. So long, everybody.
Canadian Professional Football on CBC. Brought to you by Canadian Pacific. Owned by Canadians. Working for Canadians. KTEL International. Specialist in household and leisure time products. Shell Canada Limited. Shell Helps.
This is CBC,